your hometown Toyota stores. By Papa John's, use code ROXWIN for 50% off pizzas at papajohns.com the next day. And by UC Health, live extraordinary. Back at Coors Field as the Rockies get ready to take on the Cubs. The Cubs won on Friday night, the Rockies 5-2 yesterday, so thus today is the old rubber game. Back with Ryan Spilborghs and Jeff Houston. We talk pitching. It's German Marquez and Jose Quintana. It's our Conoco starting matchup today. And we begin with German Marquez. Other than his outing in the frigid temperatures here on opening day against Atlanta, he's been very, very good. He limited to Pittsburgh just 2 hits in his last outing.
Yeah, just 2 runs in 6 innings. That start against Atlanta wasn't good. He ends up giving up 7 hits, 7 runs, 6 walks. Everything wasn't good. But the other 3 have been really, really good for German. 14 innings, 7 hits, just a couple runs, 6 walks total. He has been in control of not only his fastball, but his curveball. And now he's throwing in a changeup and a slider that he'll mix and match with the lefties and the righties. So today, I think, is another opportunity for German to go out there against a Cubs team that's very good offensively, but he's had success against them.
He has a very strong history, limited, but a strong history against Chicago, and he's a tough guy.
Yes, he is.
And he's the right man to win a rubber game. As we turn to Spilly, Jose Quintana's been around. He's been around Chicago a lot, mostly on the south side.
That's right.
Now he's pitching for the Cubs. He's familiar with Coors Field, and he's had some success here.
He has. Last year before trade deadline, he pitched 5 1/3 and had 10 strikeouts. But don't let the numbers fool you for Jose Quintana. If you look at the 3 starts, this will be his 4th. 13 of the runs have come in 4 innings, and you can look back, just like German Marquez, a start against the Atlanta Braves. There's a game in Chicago, this one right here, probably should not have started. Quintana would probably like to have that one back. Don't fall asleep on this guy. He is excellent. There's a reason why they made a huge trade for him last year. This is a really good left-handed pitcher.
Yep, good slider as well. That's the matchup today. It's Quintana, it's Marquez, it's the Cubs, it's the Rockies, and it's sunny out. We love it. Come on back to Coors Field with us. Beautiful day in Lodo as the Rockies and Cubs conclude this 3-game series. The Rockies will welcome in the San Diego Padres tomorrow. Rockies come in 12-10. The Cubs are 9 up and 9 down through 18 ball games. Marquez making his way to the Coors Field mound. That's a little different. Usually guys skip over the line. Doesn't step on it. He touches it with his right hand. I haven't noticed that before. Have you?
No, I haven't either. Yeah, most guys will take a big, giant leap. That said, no way, I'm not even coming close to that.
Exactly. Spilly, today's going to be a full boat. You know what that is, right?
A lot of people on a boat.
A lot of people on a boat, or in this particular case, a lot of people at Coors Field. It's going to be a sellout, more than 48,000. And this is the lineup that Marquez will try to tame. It is an aggressive lineup, and up top you have Albert Almora Jr. He's batting .349 in the early going. In fact, between he and Javi Baez, they're 11 for 19 in the series. Then perennial all-star Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo behind him. Tommy LaStella is going to get the start at second base. Kyle Schwarber is in left. Victor Caratini will do the catching today. And then Jason Hayward, who had last night off, he'll bat 8th in front of Quintana. Marquez, break down his numbers a little further in his 5th start. Huey?
Well, I think we kind of touched on it a moment ago. For Herman, throughout the Atlanta start, has been really good since then. I think what he's kind of trying to eliminate is some of the walks, the strikeouts, but the curveball and the slider, batting average against for the curveball 136, the slider 167. The changeup he has not allowed a hit with that this year. And I think that's going to be very important with this Cubs lineup, as you said, Drew, very aggressive.
And they swing at the first pitch, and you get a pop-up. It's really remarkable. Story had to wait a while, and he puts it away. Well, David Dahl is back in the big leagues. He's in left field. And if you look at the Rockies media guide, right before Dahl's name is Noel Cuevas, and there he is in right field. And I know people know a lot about David Dahl. They know less about Noel Cuevas, who's making his big league debut. This kid's a heck of an athlete, Spilly.
He's a great athlete. If you look at some of the numbers in the minor leagues, Cuevas, 53 home runs, about 150 steals. He can hit for power. He hits ball opposite field, a lot of doubles, and can play a pretty good outfield.
And there's Baez on a 1-0 pitch, swinging and missing on a breaking ball. So it's 1 ball, 1 strike on Baez. Got off to a slow start this year. He's hitting 148 through April 8th, but he's 15 for his last 39. And he rolls this to short. He can run. Tough play for Story. And a stretch by Desmond. So Trevor had to battle the sun on the first one, and Huey, that's quite a play on the second batter, Baez.
Good communication, too, because watch Nolan start to go after this ball, but Trevor says, no, I've got it. I'll have to circle it, make a strong throw on the run to get Baez by a half a step. But that's the knowing who's over there, who can run, the arm, all of that, and the communication between a shortstop and a third baseman. And that was a classic case right there.
So Chris Bryant with 2 outs. And he fires at the first pitch. There is something notable in the early going with the game plan for the Cubs. Marquez, who's a power guy, I mean 95 and 98 with his fastball, he's already from the get-go mixing in off-speed pitches.
Has to. I mean, because
too good a fastball hitting team.
Yeah, they're a great fastball hitting team, and they're also, you know, averaging 5.6 runs a ball game. There's a lot of things that the Cubs are doing offensively, and we've seen it in this series. But one thing they are for sure, and you can mark on that, is their aggressiveness.
0-2, and that's chop foul. That got too much of the plate.
Well, it's always interesting when you see a team have an approach very similar to each other. And for a fastball hitting team, you have to understand why they're going after the fastball so much. If you look at how they're hitting the off-speed pitches, it's a 164 average as a unit. That's 28th worst in baseball.
Ooh, Marquez was bouncing toward the dugout. It was outside, though, at 97.
This is okay. You go from a 79 fastball, or curveball, excuse me, to a 97 fastball on the Subaru Supermo. Oh, no.
I'm glad Joe Madden, he was quick to get out there because Bryant just kind of walked off and kind of started leaning on him. That is as scary,
Yes, it is.
as it gets. Hold on one second. Somebody just got thrown out of the
Chili
Cubs
Davis.
dugout.
Chili Davis just did. A couple guys just got tossed. Chili Davis was barking at crew chief Greg Gibson. And so he got tossed, and I'm not sure who the other one was.
You hate in these situations as announcers try to speculate on what was said and why. You're upset when your player, and Chili's the hitting coach, and one of his guys, doesn't matter whether he's a star like Chris Bryant or whoever it is, you want to protect your guys. It's a pitch that got away, clearly. But I don't know what would have been said.
I have no idea.
That incensed an umpire. Do umpires get involved, fellas, if a guy's yelling at a player? He may have been yelling at Marquez. Do they get involved?
Typically not. I mean, this is
usually if they're being yelled at, right?
Yeah, and just watching, you know, Chili, and then Greg gave him an opportunity, because I was watching it the whole time. He put his hands up and said, enough. I don't need to hear it anymore. If you say one more thing, I'm going to throw you. So he had the opportunity to just back off.
Well, pinch running and staying in the game, obviously, at third base is the kid from Faith Christian High School who made his major league debut yesterday, David Bodie. You got 2 quick outs if you're Marquez, and you went up very quickly, 2 strikes on Bryant. He missed away with a fastball, and then a fastball came up and in, and Bryant, he just didn't see it because he never moved.
He's okay.
Bud Black, after some time, walked out and tried to settle down Herman himself. Try to reassure him, you know, be aggressive, keep going, throwing your game, even though you saw something unfortunate happen.
And the breaking ball misses to Rizzo. And it'll be interesting to see how Marquez handles it, because it has to be very unsettling. Last thing you want to do as a pitcher is ever hit a guy in the head. And it's lined to left. Dahl fields it on a hop. And Rizzo is aboard. 2 on, 2 outs for Tommy LaStella. Here's the pitch again from Marquez that got away.
They wanted to go up. You can see that from Chris's stance. But
you know, when people wonder, oh, there was intent or whatever. First of all, there's no way there was intent there. Just look at the reaction from Marquez.
Exactly.
Well, and even for the Rockies players, I mean, guys are taking a knee.
Yep.
Hands on their hips, hands on their knees.
Well, and Ian came over, Desmond came over to Herman, and was talking to him the whole time.
Two and 0 on La Stella. And he went 2 and 1. So Chili Davis was tossed out. His assistant hitting coach, Andy Haynes, was tossed as well. Three and 1.
So this was after Chili was tossed.
Oh, he threw his.
Oh, yeah.
No, that you got to go there. Can't throw it. You can't throw it. Can't throw your drink at an umpire.
No.
3 and 2.
I've seen that before.
I was just going to say that. You kind of throw a drink at an umpire. That's just the invitation.
Probably be a little bit of a fine to
I think so.
be tagged onto that. 3 and 2. 2 outs, 2 on. So the runners will be moving. Bodie's at second, Rizzo at first. It looked like Marquez again was cruising through this first inning. The Rockies trying to do something they have yet to do against the Cubs in this series, keep them off the board in the first frame.
And it's been the last 7 or 8 games too for the Rockies. We're just trying to have a 1-2-3 first inning. That's been a chore.
And La Stella giving a good bat to Herman.
Look where everything is on the Subaru strike zone. You know, everything's working away and up.
I'll tell you one other thing, and it's not necessarily in the defense of Chili Davis. It's just part of the story. The Cubs have been hit now 20 times this year. And you guys remember from playing for so many years. You start to take it personally, even though there may not be any attachment to it. That's the most in baseball. This ball's lined to right. It's going to score a run. Cuevas up with the baseball. He throws behind the runner, and Tommy La Stella makes it 1-0 Chicago.
5th RBI for La Stella.
And the Rockies, 3 straight games, fall behind in the top of the first.
Subaru Supermo finally caught up to a high fastball. They had gone there 4 or 5 straight pitches. They didn't mix it up. They didn't try to go change up or curveball. They went up. La Stella was able to get on top of that for a base hit to right field.
And now the very dangerous Kyle Schwarber. He was drafted in the first round out of the University of Indiana a few years ago with the 4th overall selection. And the reason he went so high is he has one of my favorite adjectives in baseball: prodigious power.
I thought you were going to say
light tower
power.
And he's got that too.
For those who don't have the vocabulary that you have.
We have the baseball vocabulary.
He's got light tower power. Better description. Curveball he didn't get on top of. 1 and 1. He had a home run on Friday night. It was his 50th major league home run. First and third, 2 outs, and this is popped to shallow left, and it'll drop. Two nothing. 2 runs in the first on Friday, 2 runs last night in the first, and now 2 here on a Sunday afternoon. And all this coming with 2 outs after the unfortunate pitch that hit Chris Bryant in the head.
Well, this is unfortunate for the Rockies too, because this is just a no man's land ball. Just bloops in. Trevor's fighting the sun. David Dahl can't get there. He has to feel it on a hop. This just splits those 2 guys on the Subaru Supermo. That was a good pitch from Herman.
3 straight hits after the hit batter. Victor Caratini, the backup catcher, minor league player of the year for the Cubs last year, hit .342 with the Iowa Cubs. And that's a base hit, and it's 3-0. And the Cubs will go first to third, or they'll attempt to. Yep, safe there is Schwarber. Talk about a turn of events.
All with 2 outs. I mean, this is kind of something that's happened at various times this year. The Rockies pitchers not being able to get out of an inning. Subaru Supermo, that ball, anytime a fastball is up, you can get your barrel to it. And then he just kind of fights that one off, hits it into the shift. And then Schwarber going in with the slide into third.
Just how Spilly used to slide.
Yeah, very gracefully. Well, you need to regain your focus if you're Herman. And it's understandable. I mean, look, you hit a player, takes all the air out of the entire stadium. You have 2 strikes and you lose focus. You feel bad, and I understand that.
You know, here's where, and we haven't talked a lot about it other than really the opening couple days of the season, the fact that you're limited to 6 mound visits. And I'm not saying maybe from a Steve Foster. Chris Ionnet is 35, and I wonder if Chris has been hesitant to go out there. This will get him off the field, ground ball to second, because it's the first inning and you have the whole mound visit thing, because you know, here's a young kid who clearly was rattled. It ends up costing the Rockies 3 runs after the hit batter. Very rough first inning for Herman Marquez as Steve Foster counsels him. 3-0 Chicago. After the hit batter, Chris Bryant was hit in the helmet. He had to be helped off the field. He never went down. And then there were 4 straight hits after that. A couple of them were kind of fortuitous or fortunate type of hits, however you want to describe it. Bloop and a leader through the left side, but they came in succession, and the Rockies have to play uphill again. Here's their lineup this afternoon. DJ will lead off the 12th straight game. He's going to become a fixture there. What's changed is Charlie Blackmon, and Buddy's been talking about this, sliding him up to the 2 spot, Nolan in the 3rd spot. So now you have your 3 best hitters guaranteed to hit in the first inning. And then after that, Story, Ionetta, Dahl is in there for the first time this year. And after Desmond making his big league debut again, Noel Cuevas. And on the mound, Jose Quintana, the 29-year-old originally from Colombia. In 2 other appearances at Coors Field, including one last year for the White Sox right before he was traded 10 miles north to the Cubs. he pitched here. He's 1-0 with a 3.65 ERA at Coors. DJ takes ball one.
Well, I mentioned earlier, this is one of the better pitchers in baseball, left-handed pitchers, near the top in most amount of starts. And when you watch him pitch today, you'll see he has a good feel for pitching. The numbers are a little skewed. 13 of the runs have scored in basically 4 1/3. It's a fastball, curveball, changeup mix, but he loves to use the fastball inside and out, has great control, and will throw the fastball above the belt when he tries to get a strikeout.
2-1. Home plate umpire is Corey Blazer. Corey's from Pomona High School. Greg Gibson, the crew chief, is at first. Vic Carapaz at second. Jordan Baker at third. You know, it has to be in, I don't want to say the back of your mind, somewhere in your mind. You saw what happened in the Cubs, excuse me, in the Padres series. Is there any sort of, even though it was not intentional, it's pretty clear it wasn't intentional, is there any sort of retaliation? You're talking about Chris Bryant, one of the big stars in the sport.
I think it's a possibility, sure.
This ball pulled down the line and foul by about 8-10 feet.
Like you said, Drew, there was no intent whatsoever. They wanted to go up, and it just ran in, and it's unfortunate, it's scary, and all of that, because I've been in that box. I've had balls come in my head. I understand that. But as you said, you could just tell by the reaction of Germán that it wasn't. There was no malicious intent.
He wasn't the same pitcher the next few hitters.
No.
Well, I think if you also look at the next few hitters, they were all left-handed. So I'm curious to see what Germán looks like next inning when you're facing Almora and Baez, right-handed batters again. I think he was staying away from all the lefties.
What was the 9th pitch that hit Chris Bryant? Then he ended up with 27 pitches in that inning.
Good swing by DJ. Just, he still uses the whole field, but you can see he's picking more opportunities, Huey, to get the barrel out.
Well, we've seen it already with the 5 home runs early in the season,
and the 415-foot double yesterday.
Well, and then the 412-foot double that he was robbed of.
That's right. It's a great catch yesterday by Almora Jr. 3-2, and this is hit hard. It's at Baez. He bobbles again. And Baez commits an error, and DJ is aboard. Normally it's Addison Russell at shortstop. Baez is a shortstop by trade. He's now made 5 errors. He's playing more of the time naturally at second base.
And that's what I think is his more natural position. I think anytime you watch a guy that says he's a natural shortstop and you get used to playing second base, I think that's a harder transition for guys. And with Javi, everybody knows what kind of athlete he is. Just caught up to his short hopped him.
So Charlie Blackmon steps in. He hits no matter where you put him in the lineup, but this is the first time he's batted second since August 7th of 2013. And he takes one right above the knees for a strike. Hopefully the Rockies can take advantage. DJ takes off, and Caratini's got no chance. The Rockies' 14th stolen base of the season. You know, coming into today, they had 13 because we seeing them in the first inning. I know you're with me on this.
Yes.
Last year, they didn't steal their 13th bag until June 1st.
Yeah, they came in 10th in the major league as far as steal percentage at 76.4%. As we see on the stolen bases, and this was a point of emphasis
throughout spring training.
Sorry, just for a second, they were kind of looking at the Cubs to see if they wanted to appeal that. We just saw it on the Subaru Supermo. It was kind of close.
I think it was a lot closer than we are giving it credit for.
But I think what they said is, well, I don't want to use my challenge here in the first inning if I'm not 100%.
The slide, he clearly beats the slide, but look, his toe doesn't quite get there.
Yeah,
The
you're
spikes
right.
kind of dug into the ground before he was at the bag.
It's almost like he dropped anchor with that back heel.
And that's always the rub too when you're thinking about sliding at second base head first or feet first.
Well, the other thing too, you know, when in a warm kind of day where the ground's going to dry out, what do? They water the ground a little bit more, and so I think it becomes a little sticky.
1-2 on Charlie. 2-2. Charlie just 2 for 16 so far at home this year, but that's been a system-wide malady for the Rockies. They are 3-5 at home. You know they're going to hit here. Last year they got off to a slow start at Coors Field offensively, and by and large the entire lineup is off to a slow start here at 20th and Blake. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and a strikeout of Blackman, 1 out. That'll bring up Nolan, give us a chance to check the defensive alignment for the Cubs. So David Bodie's now in at third for Chris Bryant. Schwarber, Almora, and Hayward in the outfield. And behind the plate is Victor Caratini. First 2 games were caught by Wilson Contreras. Caratini originally drafted out of Puerto Rico in the 2nd round by Atlanta. Nolan looking for his 10th RBI.
Nolan, one of the top hitters last year off of left-handed pitching. This year he's hitting .440, 11 for 25.
There's a huge gap in right center field. And teams we've talked about it keep working him away, and he's going the other way a lot. And that swing was looking toward right center.
Subaru Statcast. I mean, I think where Hayward is, that's more of a pull to a left-handed hitter. So there's the gap that you were referencing, that, you know, right out into that big valley.
This ball's driven to deep left center field, and Almora, did he make that catch? He did.
How many runs has he saved for the Cubs?
At least 2 so far.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this one was even more impressive than the one last night.
And he's shaken up.
Well, last night he had to run 87 feet to make the catch. This time he had to run a long ways and then lay out.
Off the bat, you could see where he was leaning. He was leaning towards left center, but that's a great read, great route, and then to leave your feet. We'll see if he rolled on his wrist or if it was a shoulder, maybe even his knee.
His head hit the ground also pretty significantly. Kind of the whiplash.
A lot of things that could have been on the Subaru Supermo.
He was leaning on Kyle Schwarber, and Kyle Schwarber, who's still kind of holding him up, was waving for a trainer to come out. He's made 2 of the best grabs in the outfield you will see. The one against DJ yesterday, and that one that took at least a double away from Nolan, kept the Rockies off the board for the moment.
The way he's rubbing his head, the way the trainer's looking at it, makes me think it was whiplash or.
And Spilly is a guy that ran around a lot of outfields, this one in particular. A lot of times, I don't think people realize, because the grass, it's almost like a putting green. It's a firm surface. It's not, you know, it's not the wet grass in our backyard.
No. Says he's all right. Well, here's the catch last night against DJ LeMahieu. First step quickness is important, but the route is even more His ability to run without looking at the baseball allowed him to make that catch last night.
I think this one too, not only because he had to dive, but it's really reaching across his body to make the dive and catch. The other one was over the shoulder, ran a long way. Yeah, that's difficult, but the dive across your body is harder.
Some people feel that dive across their body is the hardest because it's a backhand in the air and you're having to twist your hand in a different angle versus open glove side where you can open and have a lot more width with your glove because of just the way that it opens up. Impressive play.
So now with 2 outs, Trevor Story. I like the new stirrups he's sporting. What do you got?
They're sweet.
I like that they have some options too with the stirrups and the socks.
Story last year hit 300 against lefties. Takes outside. 20th game in Trevor's career that he's batted in the cleanup spot. 279 lifetime with 5 home runs. Batting 4th. So the Rockies last night, we highlighted it off the top, they had that very productive 5th inning where they had 4 hits with runners in scoring position. They had 5 hits for the game. 4 came in the 5th inning. So it was nice to see them bunch hits in that 5th inning, and ultimately because of great bullpen work, and Tyler Anderson was very strong after the 1st inning, the Rockies went comfortably. But you're going to have to put more innings together in the course of a game where you're bunching hits, where you're doing the little things and not so reliant on hitting the ball over the wall.
This is a great example. 179 batting average with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. You have to find ways to score runs with 2 outs and on second. And this is the broken bat single over the first baseman's head. This is running into one.
Well, it's got look at Kyle Schwarber's
I was going to say Kyle Schwarber hit a bad sand wedge for a single, and it produced an RBI.
Right.
And Caratini hit a 38 hopper through the left side.
But what they do, they put the ball in play.
I put it in play.
DJ at second with 2 outs. 3-0 Chicago. We're in the bottom of the 1st.
Now win the battle. Fell behind. You got ahead of you, then you're going to spit on 2 pitches. Now you're back into a good hitter's count.
And for Quintana, he's typically a career 2.5 walks per night. This year it's over 6.
Here's the 3-2. So the Rockies leave LeMahieu at second in the 1st. Quintana with a couple of strikeouts, and the reason the Cubs kept the Rockies off the board, their center fielder made another unbelievable catch, this one robbing Nolan. German Marquez had a couple of outings against the Cubs, and they went very, very well. In fact, 8 innings of shutout baseball. In that ball game in May of 2017, he had a no-hitter going to the 7th inning against basically the same Cubs lineup. He's facing the pitcher now, Quintana. He's ahead 1 strike. 1 ball, 1 strike on Jose. Good swing there at a high fastball, 1-2. If you're wondering how the Cubs got their runs, the first 2 batters of the ball game, a weak pop-up and a ground out by Baez, and that's strike 3 on the curveball. And then on a 1-2 pitch, Kris Bryant was hit with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball in the helmet, and he had to depart the game. He was helped off the field. He did not hit the dirt. He was helped off the field. Chili Davis, the hitting coach, and his assistant were both thrown out by Greg Gibson, the crew chief, for yelling, we have no idea what and at whom, but they were thrown out. And then after that, it seemed to rattle Herman as the curveball's in there for a strike. Rizzo singled, LaStella singled. Those were clean, hard hit balls. Then Schwarber had a bloop single. Caratini had, as I described a moment ago, about a 37 hopper through the left side of the infield. Cuevas does not have a play. And 3 runs with 2 outs came around. The Rockies have seen the Cubs score 7 runs in the first inning in this series. So as they had to do on Friday night without success, and last night with success, they're going to have to play uphill again this afternoon in the rubber game of this 3-game set. Now Mora Jr. with an 0-2 count, and that is back-to-back strikeouts. This is a big inning for Marquez, given what happened after he hit Bryant. Would he be able to settle down? Would he be able to find his composure? And at least through 2 hitters, albeit one of them a pitcher, Spilly, it looks like he's back in line.
Yeah, I was curious to see how he would do against other right-handed batters, because that's where he hit Kris Bryant, right on right. I want to see if he's still willing to throw the fastball inside. He still have to be able to command the strike zone.
Baez hits this ball to deep center field, and Blackman is going to run out of room. Javi Baez with his 7th home run of the year. For 4-0 Chicago.
And all with 2 outs.
#21st RBI for Baez. He'd come in first in the National League with 20 RBIs. Subaru Supermo. Oh, bad hanger from Herman, and that ends up being a BP fastball. That is now 6 home runs and 62 career at bats for Baez against the Rockies.
Not only leading the National League in RBIs, he's leading in slugging percentage, well over 700. Here's David Bodie, his first at bat after pinch running for Bryant after he was hit. Bodie on the 2nd pitch he saw of his big league career last night. He lined a double to deep right center field.
In front of a lot of friends and family. First at bat, including mom and dad, wife. It's that something that they can never take away from you.
That's right.
Got to say hello to him after the ball game in the hallway, and he's visiting naturally with all of his family, and you can tell he was still floating. Marquez strikes him out. He gets 3 strikeouts in the inning, but Javi Baez hits one over the center field wall, and now the Rockies deficit is 4 runs as we go to the bottom of the 2nd. Send us your thoughts, comments, photos. Use Twitter using the hashtag #ToyotaTalk. Chris Iannetta against Quintana. Chris hitting in the 5 spot this year. He's another guy that has lineup versatility. He's batted second, he's batted 8th, he's batted 6th, he's batting in the 5 spot today in front of David Dahl. And Quintana misses there, barely. 1 ball, 1 strike. Chris lifts this ball to right center field. Hayward, boy, he was battling the sun evidently, and made the catch.
It's time now for the Pizza Ranch for the win. And what is it today? It is New Kids on the Rocks.
Good band.
Yeah, it is a good band. And hopefully they bring their sticks with them today too. Because obviously we remember what David Dahl did a couple of years ago, excuse me, and then Noel Cuevas making his major league debut. Welcome to the club, right, Billy?
That's right.
David Dahl just turned 24 earlier in the month. Boy, did he make an impression in 2016. The whole key for David Dahl is staying healthy. He has dealt with so many different injuries, or in recent case an illness. He was on the disabled list after a few games in Albuquerque with a stomach ailment.
Said he lost between 12 and 15 pounds.
And it's not like he needed to lose weight.
He said he's gained most of that back, feeling good and strong.
If you just look at the toolbox, David Dahl may be the most talented Colorado Rocky. Now people are saying, wait a second, hold on, there's Charlie Blackmon in center, there's Nolan. Folks, when it comes to hitting with power, running, fielding, throwing arm, you check off all the boxes with David Dahl.
Well, I'm going to hold off from hitting with power until he
does it over a period of time. Absolutely. I get you.
But no question, running, throwing, defense, it's there.
And in a small sample size 2 years ago, we saw the hitting for average and the hitting with power.
Well, even in spring training, he had 18 RBIs, which led all National League players. So you know the talent is there. You can see where the numbers are at, but 19 minor league games last year in 2017 with the stress reaction in the ribs. That's basically the equivalent, and I looked up that injury. It's the equivalent of what U.S. Olympic rowers get.
A strikeout of Dahl, 2 outs, and that is career strikeout number 1,000 for Quintana. He spent his entire big league career in Chicago. Most of that time, obviously, with the White Sox. 1,000 strikeouts, quite a milestone. 2 gone, and Ian Desmond will come up. Ian trying to extract himself from a very difficult start. Last Sunday. What's going on now?
Oh, they want the baseball.
Oh, because it's there you go.
Yeah.
He didn't even know he wanted the baseball.
No, but he joins a group of 502 other guys in the major leagues that have over 1,000 strikeouts. He's 503.
Desmond had the big home run in Washington last Sunday. He has, openly talked about. He said, struggles are nothing new for me. I've been playing professional baseball for 15 years. He said, I'm a feel guy. He goes, when I get the feel back, I'll be fine. He goes, I'm searching right now. The one thing Ian has never lost, at least openly, knows what's going on underneath the surface, but he exudes a confidence that is there every day.
You gotta have that.
1-1 on Desi. This is a sharply hit ball, and it'll work as a base hit. In fact, Desi's going to take a hard turn and down by 4 runs with 2 outs. He does the wise thing and returns to first base, but Just the second knock at home this year for Ian.
And maybe he gets that feel back after this swing, because it was good. It was hit hard off the glove of La Stella, just on the outside on the Subaru Supermo. Big wide turn at first for Ian, and then wisely shut it down because Almora had charged on that hard.
Here is the first big league at bat for Noel Cuevas. And a lot of times guys been around and they're watching a guy make their debut. The advice will be, hey, first good one you see, let it fly, right?
Let it rip. You're not here to take pitches.
That was the advice I know for Bodie from the Cubs.
And the other aspect too, if you're first time stepping into the box and I'm thinking to myself that I'm looking to hit a baseball, you'll be a lot closer to getting that natural timing down because you're trying to get your timing to hit. That's one of the aspects where they got it picked off.
High throw. Desmond's in there. Rizzo didn't make an accurate throw. And he's complaining he was out of the baseline, and you're going to run to the gloves. Explain that, Huey, what Desi's trying to do there.
Well, he knows once he's picked off, he's going to go from kind of the baseline more towards the grass area because he wants to take away the throwing lane of Anthony Rizzo, but the base runner determines where that lane is. So now he's picked off. Watch how he kind of skirts inside. And that causes the throw to have to go so much further inside.
Looking at that video, he should be out.
Right, but the umpire, where his angle is, he doesn't get in position to look at it.
And you're allowed as a base runner from what the line that you started, 3 feet on both sides, and the 3 feet is still very
generous.
Yeah. Rockies get away with it.
1 and 2 on Cuevas. Goes as a stolen base for Desmond. Rocky's second of the game. They had 2 yesterday. See if Noel in his first big league at bat can come up with an RBI also. Cuevas was off to a terrific start down in Albuquerque. Had a great year there last year, hitting .332. Excuse me, .312. Drove in 79. And this ball's lined toward Almora. Is he going to get this one?
Oh my goodness.
Did it again.
Are you kidding me? Those are 3 of the greatest catches we've seen this year. Wow.
For all the offense the Cubs have produced in this series, their MVP's been this guy. Jr. with his third sensational catch of the series. And it's not like, okay, he made a great catch with nobody on. All three catches have saved runs. So it remains 4-0, top of the third. Rizzo, who got the rally started in the first with the 2-out line single in front of David Dahl. It was his first hit of the series. Fouls that first pitch off from Marquez. Seen some good curveballs, and we've seen some loopy curveballs from Herman so far this afternoon.
And all the pitches have still been up. You can see on the Subaru strike zone. You know, if you're looking to try to get that ball down in the zone, you want, to your point, Drew, not the loopy curveball. You want the one in the dirt.
That's a strike, but to Spilly's point again, it's in the upper portion of the strike zone. That was down, and
well, and talking
a chopped and foul.
Talking about Black about Herman. Herman's a short stride pitcher. He's not like a long stride, so it's very short. And when you pitch like that, you can create some pretty good downhill angle. But it also, you need to get on top of the baseball and really pitch downhill.
This is line to right. Cuevas, did he come up with it? It is a catch. Cuevas with a beautiful play in right field.
Well, after you're just robbed as a hitter, you want to rob somebody else. You want to make them feel as bad as what just happened to you, and Noel did. Come sliding in on the Subaru Supermo, and you know, you're going to make a play like that. You can't have any fear that you're going to miss it or it's going to go by you.
One out, Tommy LaStella at the plate, and he pulls one through the right side for a base hit. The three of us were watching field level today for about 25 minutes. Cuevas was in right, Dahl was in left, and they were taking fly balls, line drives off of a tee. In other words, they weren't hit throwing a ball up in the air and fungoed. They were actually live off the bat. Jeff Salazar was one of the guys hitting them so they could get a feel for the tail and so forth of being in the outfield. Cuevas has never played here. Obviously, it's been a while since Dahl has played at Coors Field. On that base hit by Schwarber, LaStella will stop at second, 2 on 1 out, and the catcher Victor Caratini coming up.
The reason why they were willing to do a drill like that is because there was no batting practice. Typically, Major League ball teams don't take batting practice on the field on Sundays. And so in order to give them an opportunity to see the ball off the bat at Coors Field, it's the best that they could do today.
I thought there was a possibility, and again, as you guys know, it's very rare to see BP on the field for either team on a Sunday, but given the poor weather of late and the fact that Cuevas and Dahl were making their first appearance, I thought there was a possibility we may see BP today.
Yesterday was the first time in 5 days that the Rockies were able to hit on the field, and it wasn't great weather. It was a little misty, a little rainy at times, but they just felt like they had to get out there. It was enough cage batting practice. They're a little tired of it.
Marquez needs a ground ball here. And he falls behind 2-0. 7 hits for the Cubs.
Caratini was an interesting story coming out of camp for the Cubs because many didn't feel like he was going to make the team. In fact, they signed Chris Jimenez, a longtime basic catcher, personal caddy for Yu Darvish. And Caratini ends up making the team. He's 7 for 14 this year with runners in scoring position.
Marquez has to turn this into a Pedro Estacio start.
Yeah. Just got to hang on. Like that down in the Subaru strike zone where it's down in the zone.
3-2 on Caratini. Misses badly, a curveball in the dirt, and now they're loaded up for Jason Hayward. Chris Iannetta is going to go out.
Nine of the 16 batters that Germán's faced today have reached base. Well, fans, the Colorado Rockies home run 5K is Sunday, April 29th. Go to Rockies.com/5K to register today.
So Steve Foster, who joined the conversation, has finished with his words of wisdom, and it'll be Hayward with the bases loaded. And this is a keep you in the game moment right now.
Definitely.
The Rockies are going to get some action. Chris Russin is going to get up. We're in the top of the third inning. There's one out. Hayward rolled one to second his first time. He takes a strike.
Still up in the zone.
Right.
I mean, everything's just up. And for Jason Hayward, he's done most of his damage this year against right-handed pitchers.
We talk all the time offensively, fellas, about making an in-at-bat adjustment. You have to make an in-game adjustment right now if you are Germán. And that's that curveball we're talking about where there's not the snap to it.
It's just a roller.
If it's rolling, you guys track it well and find the barrel frequently.
That's when Baez hit out, that roller.
Yeah. Ooh, look out. That is so scary for Brian Butterfield. And Butterfield, the third base coach for the Cubs, is like Stu Cole. He's like all third base coaches. When you have runners at first and second, or in this case the bases loaded, they all come way down the line and they're focused on coaching up their runners, so their back is turned to the hitter.
You're not thinking maybe that the lefty's going to hit one right at you. That was almost in your living room on the Subaru Supermo.
And he's 55 feet away. One and two. Strikeout would work well here also. You have Quintana on deck.
So there's times where fastballs up in the zone are effective, but when fastballs are up in the zone and consistently away, that becomes an easier pitch to hit. If you're going to go up in the zone, bring it in a little tighter to the body, make sure it's almost up and in to a lefty, and you can get the swing and miss. But away and up to a lefty on a consistent basis, that's his best curveball he's thrown so far. So you can see he's starting to get the feel.
Hayward's an interesting guy. He's not a high average hitter. He's a 262 lifetime hitter, but he doesn't strike out a lot for a big, strong guy. Last year he struck out only 67 times at 432 at bats.
A little bit like his buddy Freddie Freeman.
Yep. 2-2, and this ball is hit toward the gap in right center, and it's going to land in front of Cuevas. 2 runs are going to score, and it is 6-0 as Hayward has driven in his 13th and 14th of the year. And this is turning into an ugly outing for Germán Marquez.
If you have nothing else to go to, as a hitter, it makes it pretty easy to sit on pitches, and then that becomes a fastball that's down, and that's really the natural swing path of Jason Hayward. Well, went over and cut it off nicely, but it's just the inability to really locate any sort of secondary pitch.
Can't sleep on Quintana too, and I'm just basing it on a swing or two he took in his first at bat. Pretty athletic looking swing. for a guy who's spent his entire career in the American League until last August. Counting on Will Venable to move a little better than Brian Butterfield. A little younger, a little closer to his playing days.
That one might not have been hit quite as hard as the one off of Hayward's bat. Brian's a lifer in baseball.
Safe. Chris Iannetta, based on where it was bunted, took the chance that he could get the force at second, and the Rockies end up getting nobody, and now the bases are loaded and there's still just one out.
This didn't travel a foot in front of the plate, but see how far Jason Hayward was off on a secondary lead because of Ian charging. That's why he beat this out. He slid hard into second.
Here is Almora Jr., a pop out and a strikeout, and two ridiculously good catches in the outfield. This may be, if depends what happens here. Armand may be looking at his last hitter unless he retires him. Baez is on deck. Russin gets ready quickly. Goes as a fielder's choice. Two strikes on Almora. And a big strikeout there. Two gone. And here comes Javi Baez, who's been a hitting star for the Cubs in their last two series, not just this one. Baez homered to dead center last inning. In the series, he's 6 for 12 with a couple of home runs and 5 driven in. There's that hanging breaking ball, Huey.
Yeah, and he didn't miss it. We got one he took out to right center field on Friday night in the first inning. The second inning today.
97 swung through.
Elevated, but
sometimes elevated fastballs are good.
Well, especially if you're throwing at 97 miles an hour.
Boy, does he take a swing.
Is there anybody in the league, and I'm just throwing it out there, that swings as hard every single time as Baez?
I can't imagine,
right? I'm just thinking the teams we played so far, I think he does take the most violent swing.
And he always has.
No, I know, and I'm just trying to see if there's anybody I'm forgetting.
I don't know, Huey. I think if you're putting that list together, he's at the top of it.
There's got to be some guys in the American League we just haven't seen. Maybe a Joey Gallo, Miguel Sano, and some guys that I'm thinking with high strikeouts, big pop.
Ball gets away. You got to go touch the plate or tag him. Yep. Chris Iannetta, being astute, made sure he picked up the baseball and then just got in line with Caratini. 2 runs in the inning for the Cubs. They've scored in every frame. They're up 6-0.
with that man right there, Albert Almora Jr. and his 2 catches today. Brought to you by Subaru StatCast. The first one was Nolan in the first inning. He traveled 73 feet at 28.5 feet per second. The second one, he didn't go quite as far. It wasn't quite as fast, but still very impressive. More of a line drive type at 48 feet and 23.4 feet per second. And if you're wondering what the major league average is, you can see it right there. He was above the major league average. And then the degree of difficulty on each of those.
Remember we were talking about foot speed the other day, and if you're at 30 feet per second, you are flying, right?
Yeah.
Trevor Story has the second fastest track so far this year in all of baseball. And then Spilly, you did a little homework on our friend Usain Bolt.
So I wanted to know, I get the feet per second because baseball, 90 feet, so you're curious, what's feet per second? But I think of things in miles per hour. So 30 feet per second is the equivalent to 20 miles per hour. Usain Bolt, when he won his gold medal, the equivalent of 40 feet per second.
40 feet.
Yeah,
it was like 39.6, right? Yeah. You round up. There's a base hit from Marquez, who's now hitting over 500 on the year. We were speculating with Russ and hot, Marquez struggling. Would you go to a pinch hitter? The problem for Buddy is he has a really short bench because the Rockies have a man down, and Parra had started to serve his suspension today. Even with the player transactions, you can't replace a suspended player. So it's a 24-man roster for 4 days. The only 3 bench players, great look at it there. On the left side, McMahon, your backup catcher Walters, and Pat Valaika. So if the Rockies work themselves back in this game, you can't burn one of those guys in the 3rd inning. So you got to have Marquez swing the bat for himself, even if may take him out very shortly.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, you're not going to use Tony Walters. McMahon left on left, and Valaika is your best pinch hitter. So even if Herman doesn't go back out for the 4th inning, you're not burning a bench guy.
It's even more difficult to do that in today's game in the National League with the 4-man bench. Typically, this is slowly hit to short. Baez is going to make sure he gets an out with Marquez. And with 1 out, that'll bring up Charlie Blackmon.
You can get away with it, definitely in the American League. There's very little pinch hitting that goes on. You kind of set your lineup and you're gone, and that's it. That's what it is for the day.
Charlie struck out his first time. Fans, when the Rockies score 7 in a game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day. You know to do it between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies taco special. And there's a base hit for Charlie. DJ thought was going to try to go first to third, even down 6 runs, but out of respect for Jason Hayward's arm and the scoreboard, he shut it down at second. I would say this. When watching the game of baseball, determining what you're going to do offensively and defensively, scoreboard dictates number 1.
Trumps all.
Yep.
Trumps all, and you're down by 6. Why take the risk, especially with Nolan coming up, that you maybe slip a little bit as you're going around second, and then Hayward comes up. He's got a strong arm, and he throws you out, and now you got 2 outs, and you got Nolan coming up. Because one swing of the bat, you're back within 3.
Nolan's one of those guys that was robbed by Almora Jr. in the first inning with DJ at second.
Just trying to understand why Javi Baez is playing in front of DJ LeMahieu.
I think he thinks that DJ's kind of relaying signs. Because watch, he'll get right in front of him so he can't pick. And now DJ's telling him,
what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? I can see around you. I'm 6'4".
It's kind of silly, don't you think?
But that's what he's doing. Yeah, I think it's silly.
Because you can't block his view, otherwise you'll just move so you can see the signs.
Yes.
I want to ask you guys, it comes up every once in a while, they were stealing signs. That's as old as the game itself. It's part of the
right.
It's part of the gamesmanship. It's part of the art of baseball.
But I will say this, if you are trying to do it, you better get it right. Because you don't want to say, hey, it's going to be a fastball, maybe inside, and then it's a curveball or vice versa.
Now, if there's a way that they backpicked on some sort of play like that, they're like, okay, that's cool. But this is just more.
I'm not sure what it is, but the only way they would backpick, sometimes you'd see it in maybe Little League or even high school, college, where you'd have the shortstop run in front of the guy like he was blocking him as he was starting to go over to third, more on a bunt play where the second baseman would go. But this is, I don't get this at all. And then as a shortstop, you have to go back to your own position.
He's going
now
for
they got the pick play on. They
There's
throw it
that.
into right center field.
Kind of what I was just talking about, how he cuts off his vision, at least he thinks, and circles back behind him.
You were a middle infielder for a long time. Is Baez doing this on his own, or is this something that they, you know, at one point worked on during spring training?
They had to have worked on it, because you're not going to do it on your own. I saw him look into the dugout and kind of motion, is this what you want me to do here? It's one thing if you're doing it with a left-handed batter. I honestly, in my 33 years now, I've never seen this done before by a shortstop doing what he's doing.
1-2 on Nolan. And he's gone. Foul tip. 2 outs, and that'll bring up Story. It's the 4th strikeout for Quintana.
I think DJ's asking. He's like, what do you?
DJ's throwing his hands up right now.
And the umpire's coming in.
The
Look, they're
umpire's
still
going to come in, and he's actually going to tell Javi, knock it off.
This is Vic Carapazza, and now Joe Madden's 3 steps out of the dugout, seeing if he
now
has
you
to
got
get fouled.
now you got
And
multiple
Tommy
players
La
coming
is
out.
trying to calm him down. And now here comes Greg Gibson, who's the crew chief from first base.
Because DJ was throwing his hands up like, what are you doing, dude?
One of the things I absolutely love, and I know I could speak for you guys in this, about DJ LeMahieu, he may be one of the more quiet Rockies, but the fire underneath burns brighter than anybody else.
Exactly.
I mean, that guy is as competitive a guy as you will find in any big league clubhouse. And it's not a knock on Baez. Baez is that way also, and they were getting into it.
They were. And DJ wasn't backing down.
Nor will he ever.
No. Here's DJ. He goes, I wasn't stealing signs, bro, is what he said.
And anyhow, even if he's attempting to, that's
Right.
part of the game.
Well,
and if you
get
do
better
steal
signs.
signs, shame on you.
Get better signs.
Well, this has been an interesting one. The Rockies like to make it interesting on the scoreboard. They're down 6-0 right now. Story struck out swinging his first time. And this ball is lifted to right field. Hayward again battling the sun, and he can't catch it. 2 runs are going to score, and Story's going to end up at third. Remember the first one that he had trouble with. This is regarded as the premier right fielder defensively in baseball, but if you can't see, you can't see.
He's wearing sunglasses. He's trying to get an angle on it. And there's times where, as an outfielder, you have a helpless feeling. The angle that you're going, the ball's going straight into it. There's not much you can do other than try to create a better angle, and Jason just didn't do that.
Maybe the break the Rockies needed. 2-run score. You got to score at a triple for Story. They haven't officially given word yet. You can't give an error on that, I would think. 4 straight gold gloves for Jason Hayward, 5 overall in his career, but Spilly, that, as you just said, it's a helpless feeling, isn't
It's
it?
a helpless feeling, and there's times if the ball's hit high enough that you can create an angle. You stay to the side of the baseball, and then you run under it or you run through it.
You and I were watching a game while we were eating lunch, and it was the Yankees and Giancarlo Stanton. Same type of ball that happened right there. He was able to catch it, and here today, Jason Hayward couldn't, and so it is a triple for Trevor.
Just officially scored a triple. 1-1 on Iannetta.
And 2 ribbies, too.
You know what? If he can throw out a hit here, you get that bounce back in your step if you're the Rockies. Still very early in this ball game, but it had been gloomy.
I think maybe, you know, who knows what happened out at second base. He might have got the guys fired up a little bit in the dugout.
Iannetta lifts one high in the air to left field. It's going to stay in the ballpark. On the track, Kyle Schwarber makes the catch. But the Rockies get 2 on the sun-aided triple. It's brought to you by Subaru. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. By StubHub. Rockies fans, get your tickets at StubHub, official partner of the Colorado Rockies. And by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets by visiting wellsfargo.com/Rockies. So the Rockies get 2 on the fly ball to right that Jason Hayward couldn't see. And they're within 4 as the Cubs bat in the top of the 4th inning. Drew Goodman along with Jeff Houston and Ryan Spilborgh's upstairs. And it's David Bodie who's in the game for Chris Bryant. We got good news on Chris Bryant. He passed all the concussion tests in the Cubs clubhouse. There's a strike. He does have a small laceration above his eye, and that was not from the baseball. It was from his glasses, which I'm sure broke when he was hit in the helmet with 2 outs in the 1st inning. And Bodie did not go.
This is wonderful news. After back in the 1st, the fastball comes up, rides up and in. Oh man, flips the helmet, the glasses go flying, but all in all, after what you just said, that's wonderful news.
This is pulled to 3rd. Nolan's got it. And he throws out Bodie, who runs pretty well by a step. 1 out, and that'll bring up Anthony Rizzo, who's 1 for 2. He would be 2 for 2 if not for a great shoestring catch by Noel Cuevas. And here comes Buddy Black out to the mound with Rizzo coming up and several lefties. Buddy is going to tap Marquez on the chest, slap him on the back, and bring on Chris Russin. So with 1 out in the 4th inning, the Rockies make a pitching change down 6-2. Sunday in April. Go to AT&T Sportsnet RM on Twitter to cast your vote. I'll show you the results during our post-game show. Happy Earth Day, Spilly.
Every day is Earth Day, Drew.
Every day is Earth Day. Well put. Where would you like to spend the day? The beach, the mountains, on a lake, at Coors Field? 4 wonderful choices.
E, all the above. I mean, D's number 1 for me. I like being at the ball field.
But if you couldn't be at the ball field,
I'd be at the beach.
I'd be at the beach. I'd be at a beach in Santa Barbara.
I would be in the mountains.
You're a mountain guy.
Yeah.
I would love
Yeah.
the mountains.
Yep.
Billy spends a lot of time in the mountains with his peeps.
Yep, for people. Yeah.
Anthony Rizzo against Chris Russin. Shift on. 1 out in the 4th inning. 8th appearance for Russ. He is well rested, Huey, and I think in Bud Black's world, he's going to flip it around. He's got the lefty. He hopes to get somewhere in the neighborhood of 3+ out of Russin. The Rockies get to work offensively.
Pitched in the Pittsburgh series.
Here's the quick pitch for a strike, and it's 0-2.
And that was the Monday game in Pittsburgh.
He has had 6 days off. Outfield straight up and deep, swung on and missed. Russin has struck out Rizzo. 2 outs in the 4th.
That was the ultimate Chris Russin quick pitch. Comes set, and then it is out of his hand. And he throws a curveball to boot on the Subaru Supermo.
You can hear Anthony Rizzo slamming his helmet bat in the background.
Isn't that funny? You can't. My microphones pick that up. Tommy LaStella takes ball 1. Alan Bossert has worked for the Rockies forever, and he's the visiting clubhouse manager. I think he has a Greg Maddux bat that Maddux signed for him after he came upstairs and destroyed a garbage can.
Did they invoice him for the garbage can?
I'm sure Mad Dog, with his reputation, took care of that and other things.
And a few more.
Yep. 1-2 on LaStella. See if this is a quick pitch. Yep. You were a left-handed hitter. That doesn't look like a lot of fun.
No, that's hard too when he quick pitches you, because that speeds everything up. So the fastball seems 94, 95, but your timing is disrupted.
Well, Russin does his thing. He comes in and strikes out Rizzo and LaStella, and now the Rockies, the bottom of the 4th, will try to carve a couple more runs onto their side. news and notes are brought to you by All Copy. Highest average as a rookie, Rockies history by a percentage point. David Dahl outdid Todd Helton's rookie year of '98. Juan Pierre's on that list. Jordan Pacheco, who hit .309 in 2012. Our old friend JP. Juan Uribe went on to have a terrific big league career. Dahl hit in his first 17 games. You've forgotten that. 0-2 against Quintana. He struck out swinging his first time up.
Apparently, David Dahl still has the longest active streak by Rockies with the hit in consecutive games. If we dated back to 2016, 7 straight.
And Dahl's down, 1 out. That'll bring up Desmond, who had the Rockies' first hit. That was in the second, a sharp ground ball up the middle.
That base hit for Desi. He's now hitting .310 against left-handers on the season. Sometimes when you're looking at somebody trying to get their rhythm and timing at the plate, lefty to righty matchup is pretty much ideal. You don't have a lot of pitches coming into you, so you don't have to worry so much about inside part of the plate.
One on Desmond.
Sometimes guys, even no matter how long they've been playing, sometimes they just need a pep talk saying, hey, you're pretty good. Remember that.
Desi lifts this ball to right field and deep. It's got some carry, and it is off the top of the wall. And Desmond in a second. And I'm not so sure that Jason Hayward saw that one well. I'm saying he could have caught it, but it didn't look like he saw it.
And we know Wrigley Field's no picnic with some of the sun and wind there, Billy. But this has got to be a battle right now because he's trying to put his glove up, put his hand up, find the wall, everything.
And there's no way to create an angle on this one. If this ball's hit, you don't have the time. You have to try to get back to the wall. Supermo, you see right where he hits above the wall, right above the fence that leads into the bullpen.
Ball by Cuevas again in the direction of Hayward, and that one was shaky.
He's laughing.
Now Morrison, don't worry, I had your back. I'm just sprinting over here at 30 feet a second from center field.
There's Hayward. He's trying to create an angle. It is right in the sun. Every ball, and you notice how he's standing to the side. He's creating the angle. Now he's starting to smile with his teammates. Yeah, no problem. I got it. I got it. All right.
Russell trying to bunt his way on with 2 outs. Two on Russin.
He's on the Subaru strike zone, the bottom of the zone.
We'd like to remind you, if you lined up all the Rockies pitchers, had to pick one to take an at bat for, you'd probably pick Chris Russin.
Not a bad choice.
But he was badly fooled there. That'll end the inning. Desmond left at second base. Rockies trail 6-2 as we move to the 5th inning.
6-2 in the top of the 5th. Noel Cuevas making his big league debut today. He's a kid from Puerto Rico, an island that has been through so much in the past year. After being struck by Hurricane Maria back in September, Cuevas made it his mission to raise awareness for hurricane relief efforts. I talked to him today and he said, you know, as a professional athlete, I know I have a bigger chance to make a difference.
A lot of people are going to look up to you, and they look up to everything that you do. That's why you need to be very careful in how you use it. It goes for a lot of people. Some people use it correctly, some other people don't. And I'm just careful how I use it, because I know that I can reach a lot of people, and I don't want to reach the wrong way. I want to reach the right way and bring positive and good vibes to everybody.
Now, so cool for him, as Puerto Rico saw Major League Baseball again this week, and he makes his big league debut. He said a lot of people from the island are going to be watching him today, so exciting stuff. I love big league debuts, you guys.
I love big league debuts, and I got a chance as well to visit, as we all did, with Noel this morning. Here's Schwarber at the plate. He takes a strike. It's 1-1. I remember talking to him during spring training. His family owns a number of Shell gas stations and convenience stores in Puerto Rico, and kind of a family operation. And mom and dad, they're either going to try to get to Denver this week, or it's fortunate because the Rockies are headed to Miami, which, as we all know, geographically is pretty easy to get to from Puerto Rico. His girlfriend was in Dallas, so she is here today seeing his big league debut. He's a young man that has had an interesting road to the big leagues, but he's got a tale to tell. He was originally a 21st round pick of the Los Angeles Dodgers a year after high school ended. I'll tell you about that after this pitch. 2-2, and Schwarber bounces this one foul. He went to school in Florida for 3 years at the Monteverde Academy in Monteverde, Florida. And if that name rings familiar in the baseball world, it should, because that was the school that Francisco Lindor went to. He's 2 years behind. Lindor is 2 years behind Cuevas, but as a sophomore, he was drawing a ton of attention. So teams started to see him, professional teams, but he didn't get drafted out of high school. He went back to the island. Even though he's an outstanding student, he wanted to go study aeronautical engineering, and he had some scholarship offers, some on the East Coast, some as far away as your home state, Spilly, in California. But he really thought he wanted to give professional baseball a try, and he put off college for a year, went home, played American Legion baseball, and that's where the Dodgers drafted him back when he was on the island of Puerto Rico after 3 years in Florida. And so he's close with Lindor, and then you say, well, how did he become a Rocky? The Rockies, when they traded Juan Nicasio to the Dodgers, they took the third-year minor league prospect Cuevas back, and here he is making his major league debut.
He's the 553rd player to play for the Rockies.
Three and 2 on Schwarber. Russin. Oh, what a play. Can Story throw out Schwarber? You bet. Great pick at first by Desmond. What a play on both ends.
Watch Trevor after he makes his play, because you're going to see the second base umpire, Vic Carapazza, have to cut in front of him to get out of his way. Watch this. So he makes the dive. Vic goes scooting by so Trevor can make that throw, and then Desi at first base.
Great pick.
Great pick. Vic's getting out of the way from the knees. Desi with the snag.
That is a tremendous pick, because that's an in-between hop. He's got to keep the toe on the bag.
And a runner in Kyle Schwarber that you kind of underestimate his speed. Just kind of looking a big guy, but he gets down the line.
Here's the catcher, Caratini.
Well, and speaking of Puerto Rico, Caratini is another Puerto Rican-born player, and this offseason we talk about the devastation and different families dealing with different things. His family went 100 days without power and water. He ended up moving to Arizona because there was nowhere for him to train or get baseball activities in.
Well, think about it. The Major League games that were played a few days ago down in Puerto Rico, and it was wonderful for the island. It was wonderful for baseball. I think teams should go there every year.
Lindor hits a home run.
Francisco hits a home run, but they had brought generators in case power went out again, and lo and behold, power did go out on that portion of the island for a while.
Well, and think about this too, because I was talking to Noel during spring training. I was talking about this. He said he tried to go down there before the first hurricane in Irma, but he got pushed back. So he ended up, so you see a strike 3 for Caratina, but he ended up flying down there in between Irma and Maria, the 2 hurricanes. So he was down there for Maria, and he said it came in the middle of the night, and then it was just relentless.
Yeah, he had some video that he and his brother took inside their house. He said, you know, you're used to, if you live in the tropics, you're used to seeing storms, and said we've never seen anything like this. And again, as we all know, the eye went right over the island of Puerto Rico. Hayward at the plate. He's just happy to be anywhere but right field right now, which is unusual to say for this guy because he's one of the most celebrated outfielders in the business. But he has dealt with the sun today. 2 outs, nobody on. And Russin has that pitch fouled off. I want to go back to Schwarber for one moment. I was talking to him yesterday, and Kyle lost about 20 pounds in the offseason. He said, you know, I just wanted to make sure that I dedicated every aspect of my game, of who I am, to my game, and one of them was to get in the best shape of his life. And what people, as I brought this up because he's a really humble guy, he's a good kid, and I said, I've watched you run. I've seen the Cubs, you know, on tape as we all have this year, and I said, you can run for a big dude. He goes, yeah, you know, I'm not bad. He's coming off that knee injury.
Yeah.
He gets up the line, and you noticed it there, Huey.
Yeah, for sure. I think just you kind of think of Kyle Schwarber, you can still kind of remember him as the catcher, the big burly guy that can hit a lot of home runs. But as you said, slimmed down. But him running down the line, that was pretty good.
And that ball was a rocket off his bat. Story on the right side because of the alignment. That was a great play by Trevor, great play by Desi. 2-2 now. Rockies will have the top of the order in the 5th. 6-2 ball game. 3 in the 1st, a run in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd. Against Marquez for Chicago. The Rockies got 2 in the 3rd on that fly ball to Hayward that he couldn't see in the sun. It went for a triple for Trevor Story and scored the 2 runs. And now it's full on Hayward. Misses. And that'll bring up the pitcher, Quintana.
It's a quality bat for Jason Hayward. Down 2 strikes, left on left, and just grinded that one out and allows now the Cubs to flip the lineup over for the start of the 6th inning. You'd love to have pitchers leading off, especially late in the game.
Strike on Jose.
See if Russin can pick him off and just get back to where he wanted it to be.
I don't think Hayward's going to allow that because he has a 1.5-step one-way lead back to the bag, Huey.
Yeah, and if he tried to dive back, he would over dive the bag.
Yeah, he would knock over Will Venable. Boston trying to finish off Quintana, get the Rockies back to the dugout and the bat rack. And the 0-2 and another foul ball. This is not quite reminiscent, but at least it brings me to a story. Today in the Giants-Angels game in Anaheim, in the first inning, Brandon Belt had a 21 pitch at bat before flying out to right field. And since they've tracked such things over the last 25-30 years, that is the longest by pitch at bat in that time frame. 21 pitches. Is there an intermission? You get a chance to
a drink and a snack?
Yeah. Go to the restroom. What a play by Story and Desmond. 6-2 Cubs. Built for baseball. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Well, it's easy to pick a highlight from last night. The work of Sean Manaea. We got to watch the end of this in the booth. And the wild thing about his no-hitter last night, not only was it of the Boston Red Sox, who are off to the greatest start of any team in baseball this year at 17-3, and their offense has been glorious thus far. Because there was a pop-up that was not handled and scored an error in the middle innings that he thought was actually a hit. It wasn't until the 8th inning that he became aware that he actually had a no-hitter still going.
Maybe that helped him, though.
Perhaps it did.
Take a little pressure off.
And I love in the post-game interview, Oakland's doing it to Boston again. DJ leading it off. In the post-game interview, as part of the Oakland A's broadcast, is Dallas Braden, who threw the last no-hitter, and that was a perfect game for the A's.
Day.
On Mother's Day, back, I think, was it 2010?
That's right.
This is in the air. Oh, no.
Oh, gosh.
He can't see this one. Hayward raising his arms to the crowd as if to say, yeah, I got it.
That's all you could do in this situation, though. I mean, he's fighting.
Well, you see, now he's starting to create the angle. And the angle you have to do is, essentially, if the ball's coming at you, take a 90-degree angle, left or right. Maybe avoid blowing bubbles. But when you get that angle, because the ball's coming straight at you, try not to go toe-to-toe, get right directly beneath the sun, because you can't see the baseball.
Sun's going to win, is what you're saying?
Sun wins every time.
Does it?
Well, the Rockies are being smart. I'm saying this in jest. They've thrown a lot of balls at him lately. If only you could do that like it's a joystick. This one he's going to walk sail out of the yard. Charlie Blackmon off the facade of the second deck, make it 6-3. His 8th home run of the year and his first at Coors Field in 2018. It will not be his last.
Where have they been pitching, Charlie, this series?
Been trying to get him in the
Trying
entire
to get
time.
him in. He said, I've had enough of that. I'm going to open up on the Subaru Supermo. Drop the barrel to it, create a nice angle, and hit it off the facade in the second deck.
That got out in a hurry.
Nolan lifts one high and deep left field. Schwarber reaches up, it's gone. Back-to-back jacks. Here come the Rockies. It's 6-4.
Now you kind of go back to a couple of those catches for Almora. All right, because this ball game would be tied up after these two back-to-back home runs by Charlie and Nolan. Oh my, thank you very much with the slider. And the third time through for Nolan this year, Corey talked about it on the pregame show. They had it. He was hitting over 700 against pitchers third time through.
Well, listen to this, guys. The Rockies third time through so far, 2 for 3 against Quintana, make it 3 for 4. Story blisters one up the middle. Quintana coming in had allowed the opposition to hit 500 third time through. And Joe Bat knows that number right now, and there's movement in their bullpen.
They saw it last night with Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish had some numbers very similar to Quintana third time through. And what happened? 5th inning, a walk to Tauchman, ill-advised walk to a pitcher, and then the wheels fall off when you start seeing the guys at third time through.
And this is one of the few times this year, 3 hits in a row for Colorado.
It was like the third time maybe all year. But the OPS too. You talk about the batting average of 500. The OPS goes up to 1.315
Yeah,
for Quintana.
1,300. If your OPS against is 1,300,
You're leading the league.
and you're about to be removed from a game typically. So Quintana, after visit from Jim Hickey, will look in at Chris Iannetta. Iannetta almost hit one out in his last at bat to left field. Chris represents the tying run all of a sudden. Remember, the Rockies were down 6-0 after 2.5 innings.
Steve Cishek is the right-hander for the Cubs in their bullpen.
Rockies have Brian Shaw up. Well, this could be a double play. In the inning, the Rockies get back-to-back home runs from Blackmon and Arenado, and are within 2 as we head off to the 6th inning. Just getting interesting at Coors Field on a sunny Sunday.
Arnado have the Rockies down 2. Let's take a look at the StatCast brought to you by Subaru. The first home run from Charlie Blackmon off the bat. We knew it was crushed. 102 miles an hour. Launch angle about 28 degrees. 420 feet. Now this one, not so much. It's okay. Nolan Party in front, catches it out in front. 94 miles an hour off the bat. 31-degree launch angle. Projected distance 370 feet. Regardless, the Rockies are down 2.
And the Rockies make a pitching change. Chris Russin, after an inning and 2/3, will give way to Brian Shaw. Brian leading the club in appearances with a dozen. This obviously number 13 will get the top of the order. Albert Almora Jr., Javi Baez, and David Bodie.
Kind of dismiss the ERA for Brian Shaw. It's been 2 games where he's given up 8 earned runs. I think Friday night he gave up 5. He had the game earlier against the Padres where he gave up 3 earned runs.
Almora 0 for 3, a couple of strikeouts. His 3 at-bats were against German Marquez. Marquez again went 3 1/3, 6 runs, 8 hits, a walk, 5 strikeouts. Russin did his thing. He faced 6 hitters. He struck 4 out. He walked 1.
Really just kind of calmed the game down a little bit, did Chris. Just calmed it down and said, all right, let me give the offense a chance to do their thing, and they did last innings, Billy.
Well, that's the important part. And that's what I think Bud Black understands now, 2 years into his time frame here with the Rockies, is, and we know he understood that from before. Should be a base hit to right. You can keep the game close. You can use your bullpen early in the game, because we know over the course of a game at Coors Field, you can catch up down 5, 6, 7 runs.
Yeah, this thing is a long way from over. How many times did you guys in the dugout, in a situation like this early in the game, you look up in the other club, like you said, 5, 6 runs up, and you say 6 isn't a winning number? That's not the winning number.
No,
yet.
well, hopefully all the time. I mean, remember, you have to have that thought process. If you're down 6 runs in the first 3 innings, and you think you're just going to lose, then what are you doing on a ball field?
That's right. Though if 16's up there and it's the 6th inning, you
Okay,
say,
yeah,
that's
Huey get loose. Yeah, Huey get loose. We're going to get the other guys out.
It's probably a good number.
How'd you know?
I was in the same boat. I was grabbing your helmet and hat for you.
Right.
Baez, the feet were moving, everything was moving. He swings and misses, 1-1. 6 for 13 in the series is Javi Baez.
You remember his first career home run came here in Colorado, an opposite field home run. And nothing's changed. That swing looks exactly the same.
That's the pitch. Remember we were discussing it 2 nights ago that Joe Madden said if he could stay off that slider away, he could be Manny Ramirez. Well, this one's a tough pitch to stay off of, especially if you're Javi Baez and you like to swing at everything.
Oh, it's closer.
Lead single by Almora. Bodie's on deck. 1-2 count on Baez. Spoken a lot, and well we should today, about the island of Puerto Rico. Javi Baez is from Puerto Rico as well. Baez certainly one of the top young talents in the game. That shortstop in Houston's not bad either, huh? Swung on and missed, and Baez is retired. 1 out, and that'll bring up David Bodie. I think he's been called back. Bodie's been called back. Ian Happ is going to pinch hit for him. Switch hitting outfielder.
Oh, what a donkey.
Yeah, we got a fan running on the field. That's why they have a stoppage in play. And that's a good-looking tackle made.
Why?
So slow.
All the great security guards here do their thing. I'll let you know that you can still come out to a game. There's always great Rockies ticket deals available. So bookmark Rockies.com/specials and check back throughout the season. But you want to make it out here to 20th and Blake.
I remember years ago, and it's smart that guys don't do this anymore, but I remember years ago, a fan did that. Their players would go make the tackle.
Yeah.
And the players have been instructed to
Stay away.
absolutely away
Yep.
from.
Well, and they have a
Idiots that
jail
do that.
here. They'll
yeah.
lock them up and they'll.
Well, they should.
Exactly. It's just I don't understand.
One of the security guards,
He
he ran
delivered.
from the right field line.
That was good speed.
Yeah, he had good closing speed.
One out, and Ian Happ at the plate.
The Broncos, what draft pick do they have? They might want
Fifth.
Fifth.
And I'm about tired. I love the NFL, and I'm about tired of reading about the NFL draft for the last 3 months.
Goodness.
mock draft from security guard from Coors Field.
All right. Happ grounds the ball through the right side. And Almora Jr. is going to go first to third. That was a seeing eye single.
I think part of this CNI single has a little bit to do with the nuance of playing first base for Ian Desmond. He comes off the bag quickly. Looks like he has an extra step, Huey, would you say?
Yeah, because there was that hesitation. Do I go? Do I not go?
Is it not the same rule as it would be for a third baseman, all you can get, because it becomes the pitcher's responsibility. On the right side, you break automatically. So if Ian gets there, he's going to turn and feed Brian Shaw. Mike Dunn's going to be coming into the ball game to face Anthony Rizzo, with the trio of lefties coming next, at least scheduled to, for Chicago. First and third, one out. Buddy Black trying to keep this a two-run game. 6-4 Chicago in the sixth. Let's look at this angle and see if he stopped thinking he had to cover the bag, or I think he stopped too, because I don't think he could get there.
Totally agree. I mean, where this ball was hit, if he takes one more step, he's still two steps away.
Close.
He's not going to be close. It was, as you described, Spilly, just one of those seeing eye base hits. And sometimes that just
It
is
happens.
the luck of the draw.
So here is Dunn to face Rizzo. First and third. And one out. Tony Walters is now doing the catching. There was a double switch. So the Rockies have left on their bench Valleca and McMahon with Tony in the ballgame. Good pitch, 2 strikes.
Both of those at the top of the Subaru strike zone. Rizzo 1 for 9 in his career against Mike. And we've seen Bud when he went to Russ and with all the lefties stacked up. This is why Mike's in here too, because you got after Rizzo, you got Tommy La Stella and Kyle Schwarber.
Oh, 2. Rizzo is just 1 for 14. Check it, 1 for 15 left on left this year. Sweeper misses, 1 and 2. And La Stella, who's on deck, because he's a platoon guy, has only 1 at bat against a left-hander this year. He's 0 for 1.
Bud has a matchup he wants. The numbers not great left on left for the Cubs right now.
And the strikeout of Rizzo, 2 outs. This is where, as a manager, as a chess player in the game of baseball, and Buddy plays the game as well as anybody, you're not just going, oh, look what's coming up. You're thinking a couple innings ahead.
That's right.
And different scenarios. Okay, if we get it within a couple, this is how we can go.
That's right.
If Brian Shaw gives up a base hit, or there's a couple of base runners, how are we going to operate? Tony Walters knew, hey, it's not tapping him on the shoulder. Maybe say, hey, you go in the game. He said, get stretched out. You may be going in if this happens. So they're going to pinch it Addison Russell for La Stella. And guess what? This was anticipated also.
Well, now the Cubs are just down to their backup catcher on their bench. I should say their starting catcher, just their backup today.
Russell hitting .278 against left-handed pitchers on the season.
This is slowly hit. It's got to go foul, and it does. Nolan did a great job of making sure 2 strikes. Well, again, if you're Buddy, you're going, the key guy for me is Rizzo. They'll probably flip out La Stella.
Yep.
We'll probably get Russell, and I'm okay with having Dunn face Russell. That's why I double switch, because then if he takes care of that, you got Schwarber beginning the next inning. The key matchup for him was the Rizzo matchup, and potentially in the next inning, hopefully from Bud's standpoint, the Schwarber matchup.
Well, and the Rizzo too, because there's only 1 out.
Absolutely. 0-2 on Russell.
Just gotta be aware, though, with the 1-2 count, 2 outs, the old delay steal, just doing something a little tricky.
Moore at third, Happ at first. Here's the 1-2. Russell fits the mode of that young, athletic, dangerous Chicago Cub position player. There's plenty of holes in the swing, but there's plenty of pop also.
Yeah, and he's also not a hitter that strikes out a lot. Only 10 strikeouts on the season.
1-2. Walters checks on Happ. That always takes some courage.
The
You got
runner
a
on
guy
third?
at third.
And a guy like Almora Jr., who's pretty frisky down there.
Frisky and fast.
Dangerous combination.
Yeah. If you're frisky, that's one thing. If you're fast, it's one thing. But if you're frisky and fast, got some issues. Two-two. In the air to left center field. Dahl sees it. Dahl's got it. Great job, Mike Dunn. He keeps it a 2-run ball game as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. 6-4 Chicago. With the Colorado Rockies, AT&T Sportsnet is your home for Rockies baseball all season long and is available on most cable and satellite packages. Visit AT&TSportsnet.com for channel information. David Dahl, Ian Desmond, Noel Cuevas in inning number 6. And David's had trouble picking up the left-hander Jose Quintana. He has struck out twice. Let's check the changes. It's almost a whole new infield, at least positionally. Ian Happ's now the third baseman today. Russell in his normal spot at short. Baez in his normal spot at second. 2-strike count now on David Dahl. And as Jeff Houston mentioned last inning, the Cubs are down to just Wilson Contreras on their bench. It would be huge if David could find his way on base here with that great speed. Rockies down 6-4.
Well, and with Desmond, who has 2 hits today, following him up.
Rockies with a short bench also because of the suspension of Gerardo Parra. He began serving it today. He dropped his appeal. So he'll miss today, and he'll miss the 3 ball games against the San Diego Padres. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday afternoon. He'll be ready to go as the Rockies start a long road trip Friday in Miami. 2-2. And Dahl frustrated as he goes down swinging again.
Calling all college students, College Night at the Ballpark is Friday, May 11th. The college student ticket package includes a game ticket and a Rockies themed hat. Visit rockies.com/college for tickets.
It's been good to see Ian Desmond, who has struggled mightily since a very good first week of the season. Has a single and a double today. Takes a strike. Doubled off the top of the wall in right center field his last time up.
That's a good eye right there from Ian and on the Subaru strike zone, where they go away with the first pitch, kind of try to run one off the plate, and he just eyeballed that the whole way.
Well, it's right on the edge. Those are always the counts. These are the ones that we talk about. 1-1 count.
Swing count.
Swing count. You go from going from a 2-1 count where league average is 254 to 1-2 where league average is 173. That's a 70-point swing with one pitch.
You know, we always say good eye. You know, if that was taken and it's a ball. It was a good eye because
it was a ball.
It was either way, it's not something you're going to do a lot with. Unfortunately for Ian, it was called a strike. 2-2.
There's no other pitch in baseball where the swing is that drastic. From a hitter's count to a pitcher's count.
Took a deep breath there. 3-2.
Quintana was begging for that one.
Of course. I mean, come on, every pitcher begs for everything.
But that's Quintana. He's always been a guy that works around the plate. And Desmond, who does not walk a lot, with one out, earns a trip to first. Good AB for Ian Desmond. And that'll bring up a kid making his big league debut, 26-year-old Noel Cuevas, who was robbed of extra bases on a marvelous catch by Almora Jr. earlier in the game. And then it had a high fly ball to right also. And he's not going to get to face Quintana a third time. Here comes Joe Madden. The side armor Steve Cishek is going to be coming into the ball game, but we're going to take a break. One out, one on in the sixth. The Rockies down 2.
And on Friday, he was with AAA Albuquerque. He was a DH and accidentally ran out to left field because he thought he was playing there, realized quickly he wasn't. And then Saturday, Glenn Allen Hill, the manager for him in AAA, calls him into his office and says, hey, we're going to fine you for accidentally running out to left field last night. And he kind of looks at him, really? And he goes, you're gonna have to pay me $100 before you go to Denver, because guess what? You're going to the show. So that's how he found out he was coming up to Denver. And I've heard that Glen Allen Hill is known to do those kinds of things to his players, guys. I don't know about that.
Yeah, you know what? That is one of the beautiful things about being a AAA manager. And I know that, to your point, Taylor, G. Hill takes particular pride in being creative as Cuevas hits this down the right field line. Hayward's not going to get there. Particular pride in coming up with, as I said, creative ways of extending the great news.
I think he's done that several times where he's offered a fine to a player and they're like, come on, G. Hill. It wasn't like it did it on purpose. It was an accident. Listen, when you go to the big leagues, you can't make those mistakes. And what a cool way to go about doing it.
Yeah. 1-1 on Cuevas with Desmond at first. Cishek signed a 2-year free agent deal with the Cubs. Last year he was with Seattle and Tampa. 31-year-old. He's a gangly side armor, man. 6'6". Good swing.
Has 121 career saves. There's a stretch when he was with the Marlins where he had over 35 in back-to-back years.
We think a lot of times too with side armors, the guys that drop down, they're not real hard throwers. It's more that last pitch was 92 from down there.
Pretty firm,
Yeah.
isn't it, from that arm slot? Tony Walters on deck.
So there's times that we have these numbers and StatCast has perceived velocity, and you and I kind of tease about that one. We're like, well, if it's 92 miles an hour, it's still perceived at 92 miles an hour. But this one makes a little sense when you see it. His average velocity is 90 miles an hour, but because of the way he throws across his body and the way how long he is, the perceived velocity is about 2 miles an hour harder than he throws.
And I'll buy that with this guy.
Yeah.
But the perceived velocity, if I'm going good, I perceive it to be about 84. You know, but if I'm going bad, it could be 104.
Exactly.
Tony Walters with 2 outs will take his first at bat of the afternoon. Tony caught last night's ball game. Handled Tyler Anderson, who got the victory. 2 runs for Tyler over 6 innings. Tony reached twice last night, a walk. He was also hit by a pitch. And this is on the ground to short. Russell has it. He's going to go the long way. And the Rockies done in the 6th, so we move to inning number 7. The Cubs 6, the Rockies 4.
to close the deficit as we head to the top of the 7th inning. MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Visit MLB.TV for details. Mike Dunn in for his 2nd inning of work, and what a first, I should say 2/3 of an inning he had, because he struck out Anthony Rizzo. Got Addison Russell to fly out to left field to keep this game 6-4.
Kyle Schwarber will step in first in the top of the 7th inning. Then it's Victor Caratini and Jason Hayward. Again, it sets up really nicely for what Buddy Black set out to do. Dunn will face left-handed bats. 3 on the right side for Schwarber. And he gets a curveball and misses ball 1. For Schwarber, he missed the whole year with that knee injury. He ran into Dexter Fowler 2 years ago, misses the whole season, blew out his knee. He shows up for the postseason, and it was like he was taking it back all year long.
So the cool part of that story was he was in spring training and was basically hitting off a hitting machine as fast as it could possibly go. And the reasoning was to try to get some sort of timing mechanism to it. There's no question this guy could hit. They knew he could hit, and it just became, I guess, a leap of faith. Do you want to take a roster spot and put somebody on a World Series roster that has been basically hitting off a pitching machine?
And just 6 months out from having his ACL repaired.
2-1, 2-2.
Well, the Cubs are going to go back to Cleveland and have a rematch of that World Series from a few years ago.
Yeah,
they start on Tuesday.
That's right. They play a mini 2-game set there Tuesday, Wednesday. So in 2016, he played 2 games. He had 4 at bats. He did not have a hit. And then he shows up in the World Series. Remember me, fellas? And he goes and hits 412.
Oh, that's strike 3.
Should have been 3-2.
Strike 3 on the Subaru strike zone. We'll show it in the Subaru Supermo. See Tony catching it. Yeah, it was called the ball.
Yeah, it's not going to show up in the box score.
No.
Schwarber 2 for 3, robbed of a hit on a great play by Trevor Story and Ian Desmond, because Trevor had to throw from his knees and fired a tight one-hopper that Desi picked out of the dirt just in time to beat Schwarber at first. Stars on both ends. 3-2. Schwarber draws a walk. So Caratini comes up. Switch hitting catcher takes inside, ball 1. Single and RBI for Caratini in the first. Walked in the third. Struck out looking in the 5th. There's a strike. Well, if you're a catcher, probably anywhere. My middle son Zach is a catcher. It's up to Yadier Molina. But if you're a catcher and you grew up in Puerto Rico, you got to look up to the Molina brothers, right?
There's a whole bunch of them, though.
Yeah. Jose, Yadi, Benji, played with Huey.
I played with Jose too.
Oh, that's right. You played with Jose and with the Angels, right?
Yeah. Well, both of those guys were on the same team at one time. So it was named that Molina. That's a game you play.
But a lot of guys before that was Ivan Rodriguez, and everybody was with great pride coming out. What was it?
In particular,
Tony Pena is a Puerto Rican born. Was he from Puerto Rico? I feel like I'm missing the boat on.
1-1. That's in there, 1-2. You know, you think of, when you think of big league catchers, for me, I think of Puerto Rico, I think of Venezuela. Yeah. So many great catchers have come out of Venezuela. So many current catchers from Venezuela.
Tony Pena is from the Dominican Republic.
Swung on and missed. So Caratini is gone, 1 out. And that'll bring up Jason Hayward. But he liked to visit Puerto Rico, Tony did. That's probably what you were thinking, right?
See, I was thinking Benito Santiago, Jorge Posada, Sandy Alomar Jr. He's a guy that was with the Rockies for a little bit, Javi Lopes.
Sandy Alomar Jr.'s name's been on some managerial lists.
Yep, I think in the not too distant future, Sandy will get himself a job, and deservedly so. Scott Oberg up in the Rockies pen. Side on Hayward. Oberg's up for this inning when and if the lineup turns over to the righties. Cishek is on deck. Again, the bench is very thin for Chicago, and they have a 2-run lead, and that's a base hit for Hayward.
Makes it an easy call now for Joe.
Bunting situation. Saw the Cubs play earlier this week, Huey, and I know you did as well. Spilly, I think you did also. Jason Hayward, who has struggled, to be fair, offensively since moving from St. Louis to Chicago, he has stayed on the baseball better over the last several days. The Rockies have seen that firsthand.
Definitely much better than last year or the year before.
Yeah.
So we had some StatCast numbers pull up on guys that were hard hit contact per swing, and we mentioned earlier it was DJ LeMahieu's #1 in Major League Baseball, but Jason Hayward surprisingly is 5th in Major League Baseball.
Buddy's going to go out, and this is going to be a full-fledged staff meeting. Not the pitching staff, but everybody who went to work today was on the infield.
Yeah, they're going to say, okay, this is how we're playing it defensively, okay, guys?
The lead runner is Schwarber, and Schwarber runs pretty well. We were discussing that earlier. If you're thinking wheel play, what would you design here?
A wheel play. I think that's what he's telling them, and that way you don't have to do any sort of signs. Yeah, you don't have to go through it. Everybody knows what's happening. The key with the wheel play, #1, the pitcher has to throw a strike because it's only going to work one time. But the timing of it has to go on the shortstop. When he starts to break, he's already over in the hole. They're not really even running the wheel play. So he's already over in the hole. So this has got to be a strike because you only get one option to run it.
It's a strike. They were running it, but Cishek wasn't offering at it.
No, but if he was, it would have been a perfect time.
Let's see what they run here. What do you got, Huey?
It looks like they're still going with the same play. But Cishek now starts to square around.
It's fouled off, and they were again running the wheel play. And again, the wheel play, the shortstop breaks to third, both corners coming.
Because you can see where DJ is. He's just staying over there. He's not even, there's no pretense to go to first base.
This is Steve Cishek's third at bat in his career. He's had 2 this season. This second one in 2018.
And I think too, if you're the Cubs, you leave it on. You don't say, well, you can swing away now.
You don't want him, if you're Joe Madden, you don't want him hitting into a double play.
This is where the third base coach, Brian Butterfield, could just yell to him, "You're bunting." You don't need.
We'll need to go through the
no
signs.
signs, yeah, because somebody
Especially
might pick
because he
him
called
up.
him out of the batter's
Yeah.
box. Hey, look at me.
Look.
He got it down, and there's nobody covering first. I noticed that last time because LeMahieu's going to second. What happened there, Jeff?
Well, just with everybody crashing. Now what happens though with that bunt, still Desi, I think, could still get back to the bag. He's got to know that DJ's not there. So Ian's going to end up like right in this area right here. But look at where DJ is, right out there. So he starts to go, he gets it down, but now Desi can go back here to the bag. Instead, he thinks that somebody's going to be behind him, and now it's a base hit for Cishek.
Goes as his first major league hit. The Rockies will make the double switch. Cuevas will come out of the game. McMahon will go into first. Desmond will go to the outfield. I think Desi's going to go to left, and Dahl will move to right, I believe, but we'll show you visually when we come back. Bases loaded for the Cubs. 6-4, 1 out in the 7th.
Only 1 out. Fans, you can gear up for the 25th anniversary season at your local Rockies dugout store, the place for all things Rockies. Scott Oberg is the 5th Rockies pitcher today, 4th reliever. He's got the top of the lineup. This lineup, Almora Jr. and Baez have been a thorn in the Rockies' side. Ian Desmond goes into left field, and then Ryan McMahon takes over at first base. David Dahl slides over to right.
Almora Jr. 1 for 4, and strike 1. Oberg, the ability to strike guys out. That would be great to see right here. Almora can really run. Tough guy to double up. Bases loaded, 1 out.
And Almora on the season has been hitting righties 320, lefties a little bit over 380.
And this is a chopper, and this is in no man's land. The only play was made there by the pitcher Oberg. So a run scores, and it is now 7-4. 2 outs, runners at second and third. Moore bounced it right off home plate. Tell you what, Oberg's lucky he gets to that. If it goes over his head, everybody's safe.
Yeah, that was the only option that anybody had to get that ball. Chopper off the plate. Say this for the Cubs, you know, we say they're getting light, they're putting the ball in play.
But you can go back to a 2-2 pitch. Huey, Kyle Schwarber, Mike Dunn makes a great pitch and he ends up working a walk. The walk comes back to bite the Rockies.
Good point. That and then the bunt.
Oh, the bunt. That one's a little more self-inflicted.
Baez homered in the second, 1 for 4. First pitch missed, 1-0. Got to put this inning down right here. Done a good job battling back from a 6-0 deficit.
See the numbers for Scott: 10 strikeouts and 10 innings. So what you look for a reliever with some power. Strikeout per inning.
Line to left into the corner to score 2. Javi Baez, 3 more RBIs today. A National League leading 23. (9-4) Chicago.
6 of the 9 runs Chicago has scored today with 2 outs. We can talk about his violent swing, but when he gets a mistake, he hasn't missed it.
Well, the 2 pitches he's done the most damage today was a hanging curveball in the 2nd inning, another hanging curveball in the 7th. As big as his swing is, you almost think better off challenging him with fastballs.
Happ pops out, and that ends the inning. Damage done. 3 runs. They'll all be charged to Mike Dunn. 9-4 Chicago. Will stick around on this Sunday for a rendition of God Bless America.
Chief Instructor and Master Training Specialist at the Center for Naval Aviation and Technical Training, and completed his bachelor's degree in Management and Human Resources. In 2013, he was assigned to Recruiting Station Denver and has become a career recruiter. Joining Gunnery Sergeant O'Horo on the field is his wife, Angela. Furniture Row and Denver Mattress are proud to present Gunnery Sergeant O'Horo with a $250 gift certificate in appreciation of his service. Fans, please give a warm hero's welcome to Gunnery Sergeant Joseph O'Horo and all our nation's brave servicemen and women and their families. We thank you for your service and sacrifice. Fans, please rise as we honor our great country by the performance of God Bless America. Performing God Bless America today, representing the United States Air Force Academy Band, is Airman First Class Alex Sauce. Please welcome Airman Sauce and join him by singing along to God Bless America.
To 6-4, and now the deficit is 5 again with 9 outs to work with. DJ LeMahieu takes strike 1 from Steve Cishek here in the 7th. LeMahieu, Blackman, and Arenado.
This is the most important inning for the Rockies if you are trying to mount that comeback. You want to come back with at least a run this inning with the part of your lineup that you feel most confident with. Plus, you'd like to obviously get as many at bats possible so you can guarantee they get another at bat in the 9th inning.
9 runs, 13 hits for the Cubs, and they came into the ball game leading the National League in runs scored, 4th in baseball, averaging 5.6 runs a game. You always point to little things. And last inning, it was the leadoff walk. You guys alluded to it by Schwarber on a 3-2 pitch. Hayward gets a base hit the other way. Happ, low throw, and Rizzo picked it. DJ's retired.
Gold glove pick from Anthony Rizzo at first base, Huey.
That was Happ off the line. He goes to his left a long ways and then doesn't really set his feet, drops the arm down, throws a heavy sinker to first. But Rizzo works underneath it. Notice how he got real low and then worked ground up. Even on a pick, you do that as an infielder.
That is just over the head of Addison Russell. So Charlie has his 3rd hit of the ball game, including a home run earlier, his first at home this year. Nolan homered back-to-back with Blackman in the 5th inning. It got the Rockies to within 2 runs. They had all the momentum. And this goes off the glove of Caratini. And on that pass ball, Blackman goes to 2nd.
Back in the 5th inning after Charlie had homered the very next pitch. Nolan homers. That's when it was a 6-4 game.
Outside, 2-0 on Arenado. Nolan comes off suspension. He's hit a couple of home runs in the series. 10 driven in this year for Arenado. He began the day hitting .333, and since he's 1 for 3 Spilly, he's still hitting .333. You got it?
Actually, I don't follow it.
You're deep in thought over there, you all right?
I'm great. I'm just looking at some of the numbers that I want to see broken. Rockies are 0-10 when trailing after 7 innings.
Nice to break that today, huh? 3-1. I know for Scott Oberg, one of the things that he'd like to see broken is he's struggling with inherited runners. He's had 11 inherited runners, 9 have scored.
82%. If you're wondering what the major league average is, 32.1%.
Cishek loses Nolan, and that'll bring up Trevor Story. Not to sound like a brain surgeon here, but when you're down 5 to produce a comeback, you got to produce traffic. Now the Rockies have 2 on for Story, who has a fly ball triple that was lost in the sun by Hayward in the 3rd. That produced the first 2 runs for the Rockies, and then a sharp single up the middle in the 5th.
The Cubs bullpen now is Carl Edwards Jr.
That's a strike. Well, for me, when I think of their bullpen, the guy that from afar I would trust the most if I was a Cub would be Carl Edwards Jr.
He's been that consistent reliever for Joe.
He's got a big time arm.
But he's also had issues with command of his cutter. He has a natural cutter, much like Kenley Jansen and Brian Shaw, and that pitch can get away from him in a hurry.
It's a little Kenley Jansen at times this year, for sure.
Jansen's velocity was up a little bit in his last outing. We're concerned because he's down about 3 miles an hour. He's kicked a couple saves already this year. Did he have 1 blown save last year? 2-2 on Story. McMahon waiting on deck. Rockies trying to make a run back at Chicago here in the latter third of the game. Story's hitting 5 of his last 6 to the tune of a .421 average.
Good approach.
Crowd just announced it's another sellout at Coors Field. 48,137. Temperature in the low 60s today. A sun-splashed Coors Field.
Rockies fans won the 7th inning stretch during Take Me Out to the Ball game.
You know, there was I saw on Twitter a fan, a good Rockies fan, had said, you know what, I'm not coming when the Cubs are in town. I'm not coming back till they leave, because they get frustrated, understandably so, with how many Cubs fans turn out. And I say just the opposite. You know what? Show up and outshout them, or buy your ticket before they can buy theirs.
That's right. Wear your purple and leave the blue at home. He's got everything covered. Rockies hat, Avs jersey.
Yep. Look to the Avs tonight in Game 6 over at the Pepsi Center later today. Outside.
Good at bat.
Great at bat for Story. They're loaded up for McMahon.
Well, it means so much for the Rockies because it guarantees that Charlie Blackmon will hit in the 9th inning.
See what Joe does here.
We already
Go right
signaled.
to Edwards. Yep.
We already signaled. Go get me Carl.
What now? If you guys could pass on some wisdom and experience right now to Ryan McMahon as he prepares for this at bat, what are you telling him?
Look, middle part of the plate. Middle, up, and try to drive it to center field. Do not try to yank an inside cutter. Don't try to go opposite field. Middle, and try to hit the ball as hard as you can.
Get your A swing off very first pitch.
We'll find out when we come back. Edwards in, McMahon coming up, bases loaded. performance of the day. A comparison of the two starters. Jose Quintana went 5 1/3, 4 runs, 8 hits. He did strike out, 7, walked just 1. Marquez looked good first couple of hitters, then he hit Chris Bryant in the head. It shook him up. Struggled in the first inning, gave up 3. Ultimately, he would give up 6 over 3 1/3. He struck out 5 and walked 1. This is another opportunity now for the Rockies to get back in it. They're down 9-4, bases loaded, 1 out. The flamethrower Carl Edwards against Ryan McMahon. First AB for McMahon. And the first pitch is outside, ball 1 at 95.
And that's what he averages, 94 to 96 on his fastball. You see 3 holds. Last year he had 25 holds. It was the 5th most all time by a Cubs reliever.
Here's the 1-0. And McMahon tentative on that pitch down and in, which has been so problematic for him of late.
That's why I was saying, if you're a big man, avoid any pitch in. Don't even worry about a pitch in with Carl Edwards. This is somebody that has a lot of late movement. You have to look up. You have to look middle part of the plate.
1-1. And this is slowly hit. Edwards will get the out at first. I thought he was going to go to the plate there since it was convenient. He did not. So the Rockies get their 5th run. It's 9-5. And I'm really glad he did, because now 2 runners are in scoring position, and it'll give David Dahl a chance. And probably, you know, hindsight being 20/20, wasn't the best decision.
But I think you said it earlier, you kind of play to the scoreboard. You're up by, 5 runs, little dribbler for him. You think, well, I'll get the out. I know the run's going to score, but now I have 2 outs. I'm glad he went that way, though, because he throws out a hit. It's 9-7.
Dahl just happy Quintana's out of there. He struck out 3 times against Quintana. That almost went over the head of Edwards.
Yes, it did, and nobody was backing up.
You see that, good high school programs, good youth programs, college programs. The middle infielder's always shuttling in, not assuming that the throw from the catcher will hit the spot. This ball back up the middle, off Edwards, and down the right field line. 2 runs will score. Dahl to second. The Rockies are within 2 again. And Edwards is still seated on his backside on the first base line. I don't know if he's okay. Now he's getting up.
It got him square.
It'll be a base hit. And probably only 1 ribby. We'll see.
Right off the right shin. And then you're thinking, oh, no, he's going to be able to make the throw.
I thought he did make it.
Yeah, I lost sight of it for a moment.
The way they're going to score that is a base hit, an RBI, and then E1 on Edwards, allowing the 2nd run to score and Dahl to move to 2nd. 9-7 with Ian Desmond coming up. Yeah, I was with you guys. I'm thinking, oh, he smokes the ball up the middle. It's going to be a kick save, end of inning, as opposed to a 2-run single.
And then you lose sight of the ball momentarily as it gets past Rizzo. So I thought it went into Rizzo's glove. And
I thought he got him out.
Yeah,
so did I.
End of inning.
Well, that's a best case scenario for the Rockies, as Carl Edwards Jr. is making sure he's all right. But here's the other aspect too. You're down 2 runs. You're guaranteed. Not only are you going to see DJ, Charlie, and Nolan, they'll all get extra bats over the course of this game.
Well, good news, but the Rockies fans are hoping for even better news. The good news is everybody gets tacos tomorrow. The better news they're hoping for is it's going to come in a Rockies victory. Make sure you make your way to participating Taco Bell locations tomorrow between 4 and 6 in the afternoon to receive your Rockies taco special. Ian Desmond's had his best ball game since April the 6th offensively. Single, double, and a walk. Dahl, who can really run, is at 2nd base with 2 outs. First pitch strike. By the way, the run that Charlie Blackmon just scored, his 3rd of the ball game, was the 500th run he has scored in his big league career. Carr goes over 700. Helton has lapped the field. 0-1. Desi sees 2 right in the middle of the plate. 0-2.
So Desi was seeing the ball really well off Quintana, and for some reason he's been seeing the ball a lot better off lefties and righties.
Well, that missed location by 3 feet.
Go fastball, or does he throw him the curveball?
I didn't think he sticks with the fastball.
Cutter.
Cutter at 95.
2-2.
I just think the way that Ian's been swinging the bat against righties, they're not going to do him a favor to speed up his barrel.
Big chopper. This could be a problem. Edwards has it, and by a step, he gets Desmond. In the inning, the Rockies throw 3 up on the board. They're within 2 once again, and we turn the page to inning number 8. Big hit from David Dahl. Another run for Blackman. Some Loto magic in the final couple of innings. The bottom of the 7th went well as they got 3 to get to 7 on the scoreboard. They're down 9-7. Jake McGee is on here at the top of the 8th. Rizzo, Russell, and Schwarber will be the threesome that he'll face.
5th reliever today for Bud Black, 3rd left-hander. And yesterday, Jake threw a clean 7th inning with 1 strikeout, just 12 pitches, 8 of those for strikes.
Both teams have just 1 guy left on their bench from a position player standpoint. The Rockies have held back Pat Valaika, and for the Cubs, they have their backup catcher Wilson Contreras. There's the Rockies lineup card. Ottavino, Davis, Senzatella left in the pen. Rizzo today, a single in the 1st, robbed of a hit on a sliding catch by Noel Cuevas, and he was struck out twice.
Well, just looking at both scorecards right now, it favors the Rockies. Even though they're trailing 2, you're looking at opportunities with the left-handers and Jake McGee going against Rizzo and the rest of the lineup. And you know that Charlie and Nolan and DJ are coming back up in the 9th inning if it gets there. Obviously, you'd like to see him hit around in the 8th, but it's working out to the Rockies' favor.
I'll tell you something else. They're not settled late games yet with their bullpen, Huey.
No, and that's why with Carl Edwards in right there in the 7th, and then you don't know how his leg's going to feel.
And Rizzo upset that he got hit. The last thing that McGee wants to do is put a guy on. Rizzo stands right on the plate. He gets hit as much or more than anybody in baseball.
Is it now 22 times that the Cubs have been hit this year? I mean, you know, if you stand right where you are, you're going to get hit some. And that's off. That's a double whammy. Off the forearm and also the chin.
Ooh, the chin. I get it, man. That does not feel good.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I understand the frustration and the anger.
Russell at the plate, and he hits it high in the air to center field and deep. Charlie on the edge of the track makes the catch. Rizzo will tag and move to second. One of the few center fields in baseball where even an average runner can tag from first base.
I think it's important. It was a great read by Anthony Rizzo. Understand that it's forced 15 to center field, and if you think about it, do I want to take a shot stealing a base off a catcher, throwing it about 120 feet, or do I want to try to take a shot of running 90 feet on an outfielder that has to throw a ball 250 feet?
The other thing he did too is he put his hand out to Addison Russell like, don't come close to me as I'm going to go ahead and take off here.
Kyle Schwarber, 2 for 3 and a walk, takes a strike. Schwarber in his still young big league career came into this series 3 for 25 against the Rockies. He's 6 for 9 in the series, however, with a home run and 5 driven in. McGee trying to keep the Rockies within 2 here in the 8th. Good pitch on the outside corner. 0-2 from Jake. Rockies have struck out 11 Cubs today. Looking for number 12 right here.
Currently, the Cubs are 6 for 13 with runners in scoring position.
Strike 3. There is strikeout number 12, and it's the second out of the inning. Bring up the catcher, Victor Caratini.
Schwarber knew it. There's no argument. He just starts the walk as soon as it's caught.
Jake's off to a fabulous start again this year. He had a great year last year. And one of the neat things about Jake McGee is his fastball gets stronger as the season progresses toward the summer.
If you remember last year, Jake talked about how he went into the offseason preparing a little different because of the WBC. And so we saw his fastball arrive a lot earlier than it does in the past. And I'm assuming he probably decided to carry that same offseason that he did 2 years ago into this season.
Got to get Caratini. 1 for 3 and a walk. Ground ball to second. DJ pats his glove, flips it across. Well done, Jake McGee. The Rizzo hit by pitch did not harm the Rockies. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Colorado down 2. Rockies fell behind early 6-0. They got it to 6-4, then it was 9-4. They scored 3 in the bottom of the 7th, so it's 9-7 as they come to bat in the bottom of the 8th inning. Pat Valaika will pinch hit. It's now the 8th spot in the order where the pitcher is situated after a couple of double switches. So it'll be Valaika, Walters, then LeMahieu against Carl Edwards. Drew Goodman, Jeff Hewson, Ryan Spilborghs, Taylor McGregor in front of a sellout crowd, more than 48,000. Rubber game of this 3-game set, and Valaika fires at the first fastball. It was center cut, fouled off, 0-1.
You notice that the shadows are starting to creep into the batter's box, and right now the way it's working out, it's not going to have any effect on the hitter up until those lights start covering up the mound.
That slider is off the plate. Good pitch, 0-2. Rockies have 10 hits today, a couple of home runs. They came back to back, Blackman and Arenado. It was in the 5th inning when the Rockies closed to within 6-4. Valaika, the 3rd and final position player off the bench available.
Had 2 for 10 pinch hitting on the season.
One out. Walters will step up for the 2nd time today. He grounded to short in his first at bat in the 6th. He came in a double switch. This is the 101st game played between the Rockies and Cubs in Denver. The Rockies won 53 of the first 100. And of late have been very good against Chicago. 10-5 the last 15. And of course the Cubs the last 3 years have the best record in baseball. There's only one other National League team that has a winning record against the Cubs the last 3 years, and that's the Dodgers. The other club that's even 500 against the Cubs the last 3 years, surprisingly, we discussed it on Friday, the Padres. Padres are here beginning a 3-game set tomorrow. Tony with a bouncer that's gloved by Rizzo, and a terrific play to get it to Edwards. And he gets a demonstrative fist pump from Carl Edwards. That looked like he was going to find the hole in the right field.
I've got 3 or 4 kind of star plays in my book today by the Cubs. I know about the Almora one kind of with Ian Happ, and then this one here by Rizzo. Helps that he's left-handed. The glove's right there. He almost threw that past Carl Edwards Jr. I think that Carl caught that out of self-defense.
It's also a great teaching point, Spilly, for pitchers. Automatic break. You can't look and say, oh, they need me. It's got to be an automatic break, because if you hesitate for even an instant, you're going to get beat by the runner typically.
No question, and that's why any ball hit to a pitcher's left or to the right side of the infield, there's no standing around. There's always a place to be on a major league ball field. Every player has a responsibility.
Or a little league ball field.
Any ball field.
Any ball field.
Kickball field.
DJ with 2 outs. That would look nice here. The Mayhew base hit and a Blackman bomb. You on board?
I'm on board with that. Or we could just go base hit, and then a bomb and be up.
That works even better. 1-1.
The Cubs spent money this offseason on Yu Darvish, and they also went out and got Brandon Morrow to be the closer. Now, interesting for Brandon Morrow. Morrow was in the minor leagues last year when the Dodgers signed him.
And then he was used in every single game, it seemed like.
Down the stretch.
Down the stretch and in the postseason. DJ looked like he had picked that up very well with some of the shadows starting to climb over home plate. So Edwards works a 1-2-3 eighth inning. It is 9-7 as we embark on the ninth inning at Coors Field.
We head to the top of the ninth. Jenny Kavnar with Corey Sullivan. We're getting ready for the Toyota post-game show immediately following the game. This game really shifted gears, and it shifted 3 batters into the game.
Yeah, it's always difficult on a starting pitcher when something like that happens with Chris Bryant. You never want to see it, and I think it rattled German Marquez. He worked away, he worked up, he gave up some runs. Credit the Rockies hitters for battling back. Hopefully they can find 3 more.
Yeah, don't call it a comeback. There's still time to go, Corey. Yep. Guys, we'll send it back to you for the ninth inning. We'll see you right after the game.
All right, Jenny, thank you. Pat Faleka is going to stay in the game at second base for DJ LeMahieu, and if you're wondering why, if the Rockies rally in the ninth inning, there are no other spots. So if Faleka in the 8th spot, if you got to that point, you don't want a pitcher hitting.
Exactly.
And so that saves you a couple of spots before a pitcher would be due up if the Rockies could put together a real significant rally. So Adam Ottavino will try to keep it a 2-run game. Jason Hayward's at the plate. Hayward's had a productive day, 2 for 3, 2 RBIs, also a walk. 1-1.
So far, Otto's had a productive year.
Yes, he has.
22 strikeouts. And, you know, last year was skewed more towards the right-handers that he would strike out, not the lefties. This year, it's a 50-50 split.
There's not a guy that runs in from the outfield out of a bullpen in Major League Baseball that is pitching any better than Adam Ottavino. It would be impossible. 2-1. In fact, because he's been so dominant, he's now moved into one of the 2 primary setup roles ahead of Brian Shaw. And Brian Shaw has had some of his numbers skewed. We've talked about that. He's been painted up a little bit. It's not like Brian's throwing the ball poorly. The Rockies now have a wealth of guys that they can use in high leverage situations.
We saw Adam yesterday in the 8th inning.
Well, that's what's important, is communication from Bud Black to the guys. There's certain matchups that you want at different points in the game.
Just missed inside at 95. 3-2 on Hayward.
Well, I think for baseball in general, the defined roles of closer, setup man has really started to disappear.
He went, and another strikeout for Adam Ottavino. A great point that Jeff Houston just made a moment ago. Lefties have been so problematic the last couple of years for him. Not so far in the month of April.
Well, he stood him up with the fastball, and now he comes back slider. It's so hard as a hitter to do all of that.
Last man on the bench among position players for the Cubs, their starting catcher, Wilson Contreras, steps up. He bats here for Edwards.
Hitters against Otto this year, only 2 hits in the 35 guys he has faced.
One ball, one strike. Wouldn't you think just about every right-handed hitter now goes up and just sits slider?
Yeah, they probably do until they see the fastball, and that's why his fastball command has been so important for the success he's had this year.
1-1, that's off the plate with the slider. 2 balls and a strike on Contreras. Almora Jr. on deck. The Rockies in the bottom of the 9th will have Blackman, Arenado, Story, McMahon, and Dahl beyond the first 3. Two and two.
So the usage for Adam Ottavino on the season, he uses fastball about 40% of the time. 95 to 97 mile an hour fastball 40% of the time, which is such a shift from just 5 years ago.
2-2. Contreras had the glasses on. Now he says, you know what? I'm not seeing it that well with the glasses. And this is a difficult time, as you guys were discussing, to hit.
And it's hard, too. When you have glasses on, then you take them off in the middle of an at-bat.
He's doing a good job of at least making it a difficult at bat for Ottavino to put him away.
But Otto's done something you don't see him do much with right-handed hitters. He's thrown 2 straight fastballs. Odds are here comes the slider. Well, he went heater again. So much for
just
that
when
theory.
you think.
Yep. So you think you're pretty smart, huh? There's the slider, and where's that? Off the plate a little bit. It was supposed to induce a swing. So it's 3-2 on Contreras, who honestly is having one of the better at bats for her right-handed hitter against Adam this year.
If you set up right over the middle part of the plate and throw a slider, you'll get him.
He lost him. So a 1-out walk, just the second issued this year for Ottavino.
Good at bat by Contreras.
It'll bring up Almora Jr. On the ground, slowly hit. McMahon thought about going for it, then he retreated as DJ may have verbally called him off. Excuse me, Valleca may have verbally called him off. 2 outs. Contreras to second. Here comes Javi Baez.
I still go back to that swing in the 7th inning that he had with 2 outs, where he doubled down the left field line, because that gave the Cubs the extra 2 runs that inning.
And there's so many things to point to today, Jeff. You've made mention of the two great catches Almora made that kept the Rockies from scoring at least 2 runs, right?
Yeah.
And then there was the double. I suppose you can do that all the time. It'll drive yourself crazy. But, you know, if Oberg was able to get Baez there and win that battle, perhaps you're talking about a 7-7 game.
Well,
right
they
now.
only scored with that 1 run off that little chopper off the plate.
Yep. It's always been a game of woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? 0-1 on Baez. 0-2 on Baez.
I know he moves a lot in the box, but he looked like he was backing out on those first 2 pitches even before they came.
I think, you know, I mentioned to you, Spilly, a moment ago, you go up sitting slider. Baez, we know how aggressive he is. He must have been sitting slider because he's got 2 fastballs that he didn't fire at.
And this is something we talked about earlier. When you're looking at a guy with this much movement, if you trust that he can catch up to your fastball, that's when you use the off-speed pitches. But the things he's done damage has been on off-speed today.
I like that choice. Stay firm. See if he'll chase above the hands. I'm not so sure. Sometimes hitters will be a little more patient. 0-2, 1-2. They get in swing mode, don't they?
They do, and now he's probably playing the numbers right now. Percentages are telling you Adam Ottavino is going to throw a slider.
1-2 with 2 outs, top of 9. He went fastball up again, and Baez did not chase again.
Love the chess match.
More fastballs this inning against right-handed hitters than we have seen.
Especially, it's almost like a 3-to-1 split slider to fastball most nights for Adam.
2-2. Got him. Got him with the slider. 2 strikeouts in the inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Rockies trail by 2. It'll be Blackman, Arenado, and Story. And some friends after that. Two more strikeouts for Ottavino, and he got the dangerous and red-hot Javi Baez to end the top of the 9th. Contreras stays in the ball game behind the plate, and Brandon Morrow, who has 3 saves on the season in his first year with the Cubs, will be asked to get the last 3 outs for Chicago. And again, the Rockies have 2, 3, and 4 in their order. Blackman, who's had a big day, 3 for 4, including a home run. He scored 3 runs, including his 500th career run in a Rockies uniform.
We saw the numbers a moment ago on Morrow, 3 for 3 in saves, but it's not like he's been this dominant guy because he only has 18 career saves in 11 seasons coming into this year.
Well, you got to think of how the Cubs have gone about winning their ball games this year. Oftentimes, they're blowing teams out. So not a lot of opportunities for Morrow, but I'm with you. Only 18 saves is not a lot, especially in the pressure cooker that can be the Chicago Cubs.
So here we go. First pitch, ball one. Morrow signed a 2-year contract along with Steve CHN. Free agent relievers attained by the Cubs when they lost their closer Wade Davis in free agency to the Rockies. 2-0.
And this is where if you get that first base runner on, that's when things tighten up on you.
Morrow appeared in all 7 games in the World Series. In 5 1/3 innings, he gave up 5 runs on 8 hits. And unfortunately, that nicked the bat.
Because I'm not sure that was going to be called a strike.
Yeah, just looking at Corey Blazer, it wasn't like he was flinching, getting ready to call a strike. 2-1. Charlie drives this ball to deep center field. Almora going back, and he makes another catch, and then runs into the wall.
That one hurt him. He's down.
And Schwarber, who's been a trainer for half this game, attending to Almora, is now, instead of waving them onto the field, he's waving them off. The last time he was
Waving
attending to his teammate, he was waving him onto the field.
Well, he's made a year's worth of catches in a series here at Colorado.
You can't play a more impactful center field than Almora Jr. has played in this series, and especially here today. This ball's absolutely crushed.
Well, and you love it when an outfielder's not worried about the wall on the warning track. That allows him to keep his eye on the baseball. He'll be sore tomorrow. Cubs have a day off before they play Cleveland Indians, so a lot of ice tomorrow and today.
He can limp around the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Allowed out. Here's Nolan.
That's as good of a game as I've ever seen from a center fielder. Defensively,
you can't play better. I mean, he has, you know, now they have 4-star catches, 5-star catches. I mean, are those not 3 5-star catches in this game?
I think so. I mean, I don't know.
I don't care what it is on Statcast, right?
No, exactly. My eyeballs tell me they were
right.
5-star catches.
So yeah, he had 3 5-star catches.
1-1 on Nolan. 2-1. Billy, how many times in your career in that Rockies first base dugout, down 2 in the 9th inning, did you feel like an abundance of confidence? And I think that's how the Rockies feel right now. There's a base hit the other way. Tying run coming up in Story. And you know better than anybody, if I feel it up here, you can't imagine what you guys feel down there.
The guys feel it. You know where you are in the lineup, and you know where you are with the guy on the mound that you just haven't seen him do it that often. Obviously, the play Almora makes takes a little bit of the wind out of your sail.
You know, it does, but the Rockies are due for a little bit of good luck. You know, they're due for one of those broken bat that kind of bleeds in there.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Jeff, because outfielders have to play deep in this situation, which leaves a whole lot of territory in front. Story's been swinging the bat well. He's 2 for 3 and a walk. He takes high, ball 1. McMahon on deck. Two and 0.
Here, Trevor, how about incredibly shrinking strike zone.
It has to be exactly where you would place it on a tee for a 2-1 swing.
Yeah, where would you like it during batting practice? That's where you want it right now.
Slowly hit up the third base line. Tough play. Story can fly safe at first. Infield hit. Happ did everything right. Just couldn't throw out Story. And that'll bring up McMahon with one out.
What did I just say? Rockies are due for a little luck. Okay, this is a swinging bunt down the line. Happ, as you said, Drew, did everything he could, but Trevor just gets down the line faster than the baseball can get to first base.
He once ran a 6.38 60-yard dash, the baseball measurement for speed. That, folks, is flying.
Flying. He's flying down the line.
Here's McMahon. Takes a strike. First 3-hit game of the year also for Trevor. David Dahl on deck. So if the Rockies are to pull this off, it'll be the kids heavily involved.
Well, and if McMahon takes a swing that we've seen the last couple days, split the outfield, Story will score easy.
'97 on that fastball. It's 0-2.
I don't think I've seen an off-speed pitch yet, have you?
No. I think it's 96 or 97.
One, two. Strike three. Right at the top of the strike zone. So it'll be left to David Dahl in his first game back in the big leagues in over a year. His last game in the big leagues was October of 2016. Last year, because of the rib injury, was a complete lost year for David. He had a run-scoring single off of Carl Edwards in the 7th.
Now we saw David Dahl hit a home run 2 years ago off Kenley Jansen up. David Dahl's not the typical low ball left-handed hitter. He can handle high fastball.
1-0.
Good pass.
Nolan is at second. He singled. An infield hit for Story. Dahl, the winning run at the plate in the bottom of the 9th. Shadows everywhere. And a guy who throws in the upper 90s on the mound. The 1-1. 2-1. You see a pattern. David stood 20 feet away as they work up to another left-handed hitter in McMahon, and that seems to be the same theory with Dahl, at least from the perspective of Morrow and Contreras. 2-1. 3-1. Desmond is on deck if Dahl reaches. In a game where it starts out, you're trailing 6-0 early. This is all you can ask for. An opportunity in the bottom of the 9th, a realistic one.
Winning run at the plate.
3-1. Ball 4, and they're loaded up for Ian Desmond, who has had his best offensive game in a couple of weeks. Looked much better at the plate today. Single in the 2nd, a double off the wall in the 4th, a walk in the 6th. Comebacker in the 7th. Well, last Sunday he was the hero in Washington.
Well, this time it doesn't take, though, a home run. We'll take it. Last Sunday it was a home run. Hit a gap or let David score from first.
Big swing and a miss, 0-1.
That first off-speed pitch we've seen from Brandon Morrow. It's a slider, a good one down in the zone.
You can't blame Desi because he's been watching all these guys and he said there's been nothing but a fastball.
21 pitches, 1 slider.
And called strike 2. Back to back.
This is a hard slider. It was executed just like Morrow wanted it.
Backed up,
yeah,
too.
I think Desi thought that might have been in. The backup.
0-2. This gets away. Arenado coming home. Throw to the plate. Safe. Safe at the plate.
We're automatically going to go look at this.
Yeah, Greg Gibson running in. The crew chief, first base.
We got a favorable kick off this wall.
Oh, he's
I
safe.
know, he's safe.
I think he's safe. He missed the tag to the right of his foot. Oh. Good luck, New York.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, the good news is he was called safe.
Get blocked by the umpire on this. You can't tell. Is he tagging before the foot?
You can't tell on that because of the umpire. This one.
Foot's on the plate and then the tag.
That's it. I can't imagine. And I'm not going to speculate.
Go ahead.
I'm wrong every time.
I just don't think you can tell when the tag is applied.
I don't think you can flip that around.
No, I don't think so either. No matter what angle you look at.
They're calling him a gosh.
Are you kidding me?
And that's how this one will end. A review in New York. I didn't think there was a way in the world they were going to flip that. So the Rockies lose on what looked to be a wild pitch. 2-1 is how you score it. And the Rockies fall 9-7. The Cubs take 2 out of 3. What a tough way to finish this Sunday afternoon. It looked like the Rockies were poised for a dramatic comeback at Coors Field. It'll be on to the Padres for the Rockies. For us, it's on to center field. Here's Jenny and Corey.
All right, Drew, thanks so much. Loto Magic fizzing out on a review call. Tough to see because you didn't think that one would be reversed.
No, I didn't, but that was absolutely unbelievable ending to a game. The Cubs may have won it, but Albert Almora Jr. really saved that game for the Cubs. We'll show you all his ridiculous catches coming up.